That's where we
Are we good to go?
eat. That's where we cook. Yeah, we're good to go, sir.
Here we go. Are you going to start us with the rent?
No, man.
Come on.
I'm on a break from a rent.
Come on, Prof.
I'm on a
Hit us with the 1 minute rent.
No, it doesn't work like that. Rent is prepared. People don't understand that. I have to spend the whole day marinating this thing.
Yeah, but you're always marinating this stuff. So what's top of mind for you?
No, look, I mean, obviously, what's in front of us is the Madlanga Commission as well as the ad hoc committee, right? I'm not sure from a strategic point of view why you would, ahead of an election year, set up a situation that would get your dirty laundry all over the show, and truly as an excuse for inaction.
Yeah.
Right, because all the president had to do was to call his minister and to call his provincial commissioner and the national commission in the same room and say, tell me what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
And then decide from there what to do. Right, and it would have simply been, look, chief, it's too hot a kitchen, please get out.
Yeah.
We'll make you ambassador of Rwanda or of, I don't know what country doesn't all like us, whatever the countries.
But you're giving me the rand without the rand energy.
No, it's not. There's no rand. It's not a rand. The rand always starts slow and ends hot.
Okay, I'll let you build up onto it.
So it's truly, I'm still baffled, and I'm hoping against hope the president will actually pitch up himself at one of these commissions, and tell us what he was thinking in his mind when he, instead of acting, he spent I don't know how many millions, right, over I don't know how many months it's going to be, because the last time we thought it's 6 months, it was 4 years, right, and it cost us R1 billion. I thought we would have learned from that. Not only learn from it, but also be wary of commissions that actually don't produce anything. Right? Because we're sitting with a state capture report where 98 names of his comrades are mentioned. Not one of them is in orange overalls.
Wow.
Not one. And what's worse, not even one of them has been reprimanded by the party. Let's say they didn't want the guy to go to prison. Right, but even the party failed. I mean, when I knew it was going to fail, is when they said Jeff Radebe was going to lead a committee. I mean, really, are you serious? You know, I mean, how does Jeff Radebe lead a commission dealing with corruption? I mean, that's like a joke, man. You know, so that's the trouble. The trouble is a lot of South Africans were skeptical about the commissions because there's too many of them that have produced nothing. From the Falam Commission, which the president himself ignored. Falam Commission was talking about this Marikana thing. But the president's yet to go to Marikana. After lying in public at the funeral, the worst thing you can do, at the funeral of Mandela, saying, I'm going to go with Malema to Marikana. We're still waiting. I don't know when the funeral was. It was years ago. Right? Ignored that. Ignored the TRC commission. You see, this one makes me very angry. Right? The TRC commission says, amongst many things it said, prosecute these people who refuse to come and ask for amnesty. Not one of them has been prosecuted. It goes on and says, because you could say, oh, that's just politics and what. It talks about the economy. You say part of the legacy of apartheid is economic deprivation. Please establish or come up with a wealth tax. Right? That would then, in a sense, get business to show seriousness. No, we can't do that. They fail to do it, and then they come up with this BEE, right, that they have failed to implement. Now, BEE is, for me, I would argue that BEE must stay in place. You just need new implementers of it. I don't think anybody should be taken serious who will say BEE must go, because those people are not understanding why in the first place it was established. And you need to distinguish, therefore, between its implementation and its rationale, and it therefore is necessity. to level the playing field.
Yeah.
Right? I always say, I think that white people must be laughing at us because actually they're the beneficiaries of BEE more than blacks.
Sure.
Yeah, because when they BEE, they say, oh, no, they are so very apologetic. In 5 years, please, can black people please own 25%?
Yeah.
In the financial sector, it's worse. They're saying, no, black people should own 10%. They even fail to meet that low target.
That was
when you say black people must
self-imposed.
own 10%, you are saying 90% must remain in the hands of whites.
Yeah.
When you say 25% or 26%, etc., you are saying the balance remain. That's why they're the worst beneficiaries. I say, hey, these guys got in power. At the BE dialogue a few days ago, I think it was Dalimpov who said something that I have never quite understood that way. He's saying, in 94, black people won the majority of the votes.
Yeah.
And so they won the majority of cabinet.
Yeah.
Right? They were given the majority of cabinet. Imagine if after they won elections, people sat down and said, no, we understand you won 2/3. I think it was 68 or something.
2/3 for a number of years.
We understand you won 2/3, but won't you please take 1/3 of the power?
Yeah.
He's saying if that makes no sense, why in the economy does it make sense to say BEE when it's fully implemented and you are level A or what is level 1?
Level 1.
Right?
Yeah.
You can still be level 1 and your business is owned 9% by black people. And then the rest is still owned by white people. There's a sense of entitlement in some of our white population that is actually staggering. And they've suddenly they are what is emboldened.
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether they're emboldened by Trump or they're emboldened by what, God knows what, or maybe emboldened by the GNU concoction.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's very funny to listen to the and say, oh, no, the transformation agenda. They didn't know this before they entered into this toxic marriage with them. They knew it.
They knew it.
But to those of us who are saying this, we're seen as radical lunatics who don't want to build South Africa.
They don't like the GNU.
Right? No, they don't like it.
You.
No, and of course I don't like it. Yeah, of course.
We'll come to it.
I've never being apologetic about it. But it's because, and it's not because I'm a prophet. I think it just took slight analysis to say these guys are in court. Yeah. They're not just talking. They're in court fighting employment equity, fighting national health insurance, fighting land expropriation, fighting Bella Act. They're fighting all the transformation legislation we're trying to introduce that as the ANC and the progressive movement in general,
that's what you
are swearing, you swear by those things.
Yeah.
How then do you go and enter into a marriage with people who have already told you? They one thing about the DA is that they're very clear.
Yeah.
Sila is very, very clear. She's not messing around. She's telling you straight. This is not, first of all, she says, this is not even a GNU. Tells you in your face.
Coalition between.
Right? It's a DA.
Yeah.
And it says all these other people are rats and mice.
Yeah.
Right? So she's insulting your partner, she's insulting you, and you still stay.
Yeah.
Right? Why? Because maybe you didn't have a choice, or you're too cowardly to make a proper decision about where this country must go.
Yeah.
This country cannot be on a, what do you call a neutral gear, like in inertia.
I think there was, I don't know who said this from Freedom Front, to say since the GNU got into place, there has been barely any policies that have gone to Parliament and approved, right? Like he says they process something like, I might get the numbers wrong, something like 60 a year or whatever. But we are in this impasse where nothing can pass.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got my rent. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you Prof. JJ Tabane. I'm sitting in this seat. This is not actually my seat. This is the black pen.
Yes, Penwell,
the black pen seat. And I will not be able to match. I mean, it's really one of the best in the country in this new medium. I can't be him. I'm not gonna try be him. I can only be the black yarn. I mean, that's really all I can offer.
Be yourself, black yarn.
So I'm sitting in this seat because I lost a bet with the boss of Tribal Media.
Yeah.
Mr. Kibine.
What bet did you lose?
I lost the bet because, and I'm keen to get your view. So, but a bit about Tribal Media. I mean, they have this platform here, Konvo. This is not the only thing they do.
Sure.
They do a number of shows for DSTV. They do advertising for companies. My interest really is, I really think corporates especially are getting into this space where they have to produce their own content podcast, and all of that. And I think it presents an opportunity for businesses like Tribal Media. I want to be part of it. He does not want, but that's a debate for another day. But I to all the people who are viewing this, I mean, you have a company here, Tribal Media. You can find them on tribalmedia.co.za. They do amazing work. They are almost the kings of reality TV on many of the shows on DSTV.
Look, debatable.
Which are some of the ones you've done?
Senkatele, Stina, Mdende.
Yeah,
there's a few, man. We've done quite. We deal with a lot of. Can you call it township issues?
Yeah.
Okay.
We deal with a lot of. We advocate for a lot. I mean, on the other show we did, Mdende was dealing with the abuse of SASSA grants.
Yeah. Crazy.
So we've dealt with a lot of issues. We've dealt with issues of black tax. In our community. So we deal with a lot of issues that deal with our people. So we mirror society through visual storytelling more than anything.
It's amazing work. And I mean, for me, as I say, I mean, I'm appealing to people who are in the ad agencies, the corporate clients, that here is a company that just, it's a black-owned company, but that's not what they offer, really. We
don't offer black.
They go and compete and they outbid just based on quality. On content that's required by the likes of DSTV. And I'm hoping we can channel that and start to produce content for corporate clients. So you'll hear about this more and more as we do other episodes. But today, it's about the prof. I want us to structure this conversation because your time comes at high premium. So that we contain it into a number of areas. So one of the things that usually happens with people like you that have always been public faces, people just think, okay, they think they know you, but actually often the introduction is just, I present to you Professor J.J. Tabane.
Who needs no introduction.
Who needs no introduction. So today I'm going to ask you to need an introduction. Not because you need introduction, but just so that we know there is more behind the person.
Yeah,
and get to hear a bit more about that. That's one topic. Then the second topic, frank dialogue, recently did the future of Triple BEE.
Yeah.
Amazing discussions. Thanks for the invite. It was just energy in the room was just amazing.
Yeah.
Palili Hutla and many other people, Parks, Tau also had some. It was really amazing. So I would like to talk about where you see, so maybe the insights that come out of that frank dialogue.
Yes.
And then we can talk about, what do you see coming out of that, the next actions. You've touched a little bit on BE, so we'll give it sufficient time. And then I want to talk about the political landscape. Not so much. Yes, there's the Madlanga Commission, there's the Parliament Ad Hoc Committee. Not so much the blow-by-blow tabloid. Sure. This is what Witness A said, because that's the noise.
Yeah.
I want to try and pick sort of the trend, the big trends.
Yeah.
What can we take away? The witnesses will come, they'll contradict each other, whatever. I really just reserve. I usually don't comment on things that happen on a day-by-day basis.
Sure.
But I think this is a symptom of a bigger thing that we might not be seeing, of a changing landscape in South Africa, in the political space. And then we will close with, based on what you've told us about the politics, the different parties, what's next? What should we expect? There's local elections coming
up,
and then there's the 2029, which is going to be big. Before that is preceded by a lot of elective conferences of different parties. So that's the structure. We're gonna try and keep it tight so that it's not 3 hours of discussions. It's a discussion. It's not just an interview. I've seen interviews where I feel like it's like a cleansing platform. People come and just say stuff, and then they are not challenged and all of that.
Yeah.
But it's also not an argument. It's a discussion.
Sure, understand.
And thank you really for your time.
Me. Yeah.
In the future, what I foresee happening with a platform like Konvo, I see it more like, if you think about radio, your radio days, we'll talk about the radio days. There's Power FM. It's a platform.
Yeah.
And on the platform, you can have multiple programs.
Absolutely.
So the way I see it, the podcast world in the future will go there. It will be a platform. Today is very personality driven. Yes. And I'm hoping one day we'll be able to say, okay, Professor JJ is running the political program on the platform.
The podcast, yes, on that platform.
Someone like Andile
so it becomes like a channel.
AK is running a business program on the platform.
Yeah.
The platform already has Majens and all of that. This conversation, which is today called Konvo, it will be more variety.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tebza brings in spirituality elements.
Okay, that's good.
Sizwe, I don't know, wants to talk about other religions and stuff. But that's where we sit. So hopefully one day we'll convince you to come and do. Until you do, are you going to do your podcast before we get going?
Yes, I will. Soon. But I'm not in a hurry. I'm taking a break from shouting at the world.
Is it?
It will come very soon.
You must come warm up here and do politics, as a warm up.
Happy to do that. Today I'm warming up. You took me out of my leave,
Yeah. Is it going to happen, the podcast?
Yeah, it will happen. Yeah. It will happen. But I'm not in a hurry.
Yeah.
I'm not in a hurry. I've got a specific way I want it to happen.
Okay.
I believe that there's a lot of traffic.
Yes.
Right, on podcasts. Almost a lot of clutter.
Yes.
And I have something different in mind in terms of a podcast, which I won't disclose now, but I will. When you launch, you'll see what I meant.
Amazing. So let's start with you, Prof. Tell us a bit about you. Where you born, grew up?
That sounds like a job interview when they say, tell us about yourself.
I'm still coming to strength and weaknesses.
No. I work well under pressure. No, I was born in a small town called Brits.
Yeah.
In the northwest.
Actually.
We lived in a township called Mututlum.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you know it.
I've heard about Mutuan.
So Mututlum. We lived in Mututlum in 1972. That's when I was born. 53 years ago. And then we moved to a small village called Hebron.
Yes.
Hebron is between. If geographically, if you know, no, it's not. No, that's Hilbron.
That's Hilbron.
Yeah. Hebron is nestled between Mabopane and Garankuwa. It's the last part. It's actually on the border of the northwest.
Okay.
The last part. So if the northwest starts in Mafikeng, which is far away,
yes,
it ends in Hebron.
Okay.
Right, which is it's connected to other villages. There's Jericho and so Kabalatzani, etc. So it's really the end of the north. But it's almost a part of the northwest that's in Pretoria, because our nearest town is Pretoria. So we always, so I'm from Pretoria, really. And Maopane, you could literally just use your BMX to go to Maopane or to Garankuwa, So that's where I lived in my early years. And I went back to Macau.
Only child? Oh.
No. I've got two siblings. Younger, is a younger brother, and then my younger sister, Dr. Kyorapes Tabane, who's an oncologist here in Sandton.
Okay.
So that's our family. We went to school in a place called.
Parents still around?
My mother is late, passed away in 2018.
Yeah.
So rest in peace. Her birthday is coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
And my dad is still alive. He's 87, just turned 87 last week.
It's amazing.
And so we still have him around, and it's a blessing, really.
Yeah.
So we went. I was just going to say, so while living in Hebron, we schooled in Macau.
Yes.
A lovely school called Tsoho High School. It's a Catholic school.
Yeah.
We are Anglican at home, but we went to this Catholic school.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting. To engage with the Catholics.
Yes.
Yeah, and we was there for many years.
A boarding school?
5. No, it's not a boarding school.
Yeah.
It's a day school.
Yeah.
So we used to take a bus from Hebron to Macau.
Yeah.
Macau is not far from Brett, so it's not far from where I was born.
Yeah.
But this school, very, very good school, one of the best schools truly in the Northwest.
Yeah.
Always boasting about 100%, pass rate and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's why I became a prefect.
Yeah. That's where the problem
Not SRC. That's where the problem started. not an SRC. Please understand. Not SRC. Prefect.
Yeah.
Right. Prefect, you are shouting at students to be in line, to wear uniforms.
You were not part of a committee. It was just you.
Yeah. No. I was the deputy head prefect.
Yeah.
But the prefect, the head prefect was a friend of mine, Dr. Linyai, who was very soft.
Yeah.
So we used to play good cop, bad cop. So if you want bad news to be delivered at the assembly,
that's you.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Right? But I did many other things that planted the seed for what I'm doing today at the high school. For example, we started a campaign called Operation Feed the Hungry.
Yeah.
Right? So there were lots of hunger in the surrounding areas of our school. So we used to get students to bring from their homes, because these students were from different affluent areas.
Yeah.
So they will bring what we call commodities.
Yeah.
Tin stuffs, candles, whatever. We collect these things. Then we go into the community and give them to the needy people, either in nursery homes or orphanages and those kind of things. So that was one of the projects that I started at high school. And then I also started a magazine. Right?
In school?
In school.
Jeez, man.
At 13 years old. Right? Started a magazine called Tsoha Tsoho. Tsoha. Wake Up Tsoho.
Yeah.
Tsoho was the name of a school, so he said the magazine we called Tsoha Tsoho.
Yeah.
Right, which was really meant to raise
like TikTok.
Levels of at that time. It was like a printed thing, an A5. There was no social media in those days. So a magazine actually made a lot of sense, because you print it and then you give it to students at the bus station or whatever.
Yeah.
And so today, when I'm editing Leadership magazine, it started 3 decades ago.
Yeah.
To think about, and I've done that in a number of places where I made a stop.
Yeah.
At university, I started a magazine of SASCO. I was a member of SASCO at UWC, where I did my second degree. So I started a magazine there too. So I've been this whole thing about starting publications.
It's always been.
Yeah, it's not something that I just woke up now and started doing.
Where did you do your first degree, and what was it?
I will tell you this story. So I wanted to be a medical doctor.
Yeah.
Right? Medunza wasn't far from us. It was literally a stone's throw from Hebron, actually. So I was always thinking in my mind, standard 10B, there's all these people who are going to do medicine and engineering.
Yeah.
The 10 Moroccanis of this world, they were in what is called standard 10B.
Yeah,
so that's the elite.
And the science
so even if you're not wired to be a doctor. The peer pressure was too much in that class. You're getting distinctions and whatever. So come matric, poor results.
Yeah.
I think a D.
Yeah. For maths.
Yeah, a D in general. I don't know what the maths was. I don't remember.
D was good in those years.
Yeah, but not for medicine. Yeah. Go to medicine and say, no, please, maths is not so bad, physics is not so bad.
Yeah.
But terribly sorry.
Yeah.
But we've got a solution for you.
Yeah.
Go to the University of the North.
Yeah.
It is now called the University of Limpopo.
Yeah.
And do what is called BSc pre-medicine.
Yes.
Right? So that's the big four: math, science, bios, chemistry.
Yeah.
If you pass those,
you can come back.
You can come back. You'll be on second year of medicine. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
The first year of medicine is as those big four. That's it. There's nothing else. They're not teaching you anything because they just want to just get your mind right on maths and science.
Yeah.
So I went there and I failed everything.
You failed everything in Limpopo?
Everything at the University of Limpopo. I failed everything, but I passed something called special English for science students.
What happened?
And my dad said, hey, at least you passed something. Well,
what happened?
I don't know. Ask my maths teacher. Why I'm saying ask my maths teacher? Because my maths teacher in class, when they were doing tutorials, he used to ask me to explain to the students.
Yeah.
After he puts a formula there and they don't understand, he says, Mr. Tabane, please explain, man. These people don't understand. And I go to the board and I scribble it and I explain this thing. And they get it. But now when my turn comes to pass, he says, but I don't understand. You explain these things in class.
Why are you not able to reproduce them?
You understand? I mean, what the hell?
Yeah.
Anyway, I went back home and then I was told, listen, clearly you are not studying. My parents were very strict, very, very strict. We think you should go to UNISA.
You're going to stay at home?
You stay here so we can watch you studying here.
Correspondence.
So I go to UNISA. I register Setswana, English, philosophy, languages, And I start because UNISA you start early. January, first week you are already writing assignments and what. Remember that the university opens only towards end of February. So now I've started. I'm 2 months ahead because, I'm not going back there as far as my parents are concerned. March, a fellow called Tlangani Matebula, he's a professor at TUT now.
Yes, I know Tlangani,
Tlangani arrives at the home with a delegation from the SRC. Saying there's no way we need this guy on campus. That's how I got back to campus.
In Limpopo?
I don't know what they said to my parents.
I
truly, I don't know. I'm being honest, and I always asked him, what did you say to my dad? Because my dad was very clear. No, you go to UNISA, you study there. Because in the first place, I didn't even want you to go to university. Wanted him to go there. In Hebron, there's a college, a teacher's college called Hebron College of Education. I don't know what, I think they've dissolved it. You know what?
It's one of those.
The madness of the news of it just dissolved a college that was producing perfect teachers in the Northwest. They dissolved it. Anyway, my dad wanted me to go there and be a teacher. And I said, no ways, I'm going to university. So now, he says, you see now, go now to UNISA. Now, Matebula, when they finish with the meeting, he says, pack your bags.
We're going.
My dad says, we'll let you go on condition you register everything you registered at UNISA. When you get to campus.
Philosophy, language.
Philosophy, English. And when I got there, I still tried my luck. I said, maybe I should register French. So I went to the French class. When I got there, I only attended one class. After that, I had the Gemma Pele. I'm going to fail again here. Gemma Pele. No. So anyway, what that did was that it propelled my activism. In that I had enough. Imagine you're doing chemistry. Suddenly you're doing Setswana 101. Right?
Did they have Setswana there?
No, they had. I did Setswana 1 and Setswana 2. In Limpopo.
Of the North.
Yes, they had.
Wow.
So I passed with flying colors, obviously. Because if you're moving from maths to linguistics, you're gonna pass in flying colors. English, I said my top subject. In fact, at the end of my tenure there, it was a major. My majors were English and philosophy at the end. Passed in high colors. And it worked, and I'll tell you a little later how all of that, this 3 years where I was flying colors worked for me later on in life when they look at my academic transcript. Oh, you see, you failed the first year. But then after that, it was all distinctions. So anyway, it propelled my activism in that I was able to be a member of the Anglican Society, member of the Young Christian Students, right? I was a champion in table tennis. I was an athlete running 100 meters.
Wow.
In fact, with the table tennis, I was actually a national champion. I was in the national team playing different universities. The only university I couldn't defeat was Western Cape. They play their table tennis like Chinese. I can't understand. You don't see the ball and you suddenly
It's game over.
So it made me a well-rounded person, because with the Anglican studios, my entry into politics was through the church.
Yes.
Right? My father was an Anglican priest, so you had no choice but to go to church, be an altar boy, go to Catholic school. You see?
Oh, so your pastors...
Absolutely. So when I got to university, one of the first things I looked for was an Anglican church. Where's the church?
Yeah.
There was a church outside the village, or in the village, Mangweng, but there was also Anglican society.
Yeah.
And this is where I thrived, because I became the regional leader of Anglican Society, national leader, president twice of the Anglican Society, and then even the international leader of Anglican youth.
Yeah.
In something called the Anglican Youth Network.
Yeah.
I had an office actually in New York and in London, with people working full time there for me in that network.
Yeah.
Right? But all of this was possible because the studies were not necessarily top of mind. They were too easy.
It was easy stuff.
Yeah. So then after I finished the first degree, I said to my parents, "There's your degree."
Yeah.
From UNISA and develop. Can I now go and do law?
Yeah.
I said, right. I'm going to Cape Town, going to the furthest part of the country to do law.
Yeah. So who was funding all of this studies? Was it the parents? Was it
in the first degree? It was a combination of TEFSA.
TEFSA, that became an NSFAS.
Yes. TEFSA. So when people talk about NSFAS, I get very...
TEFSA, it tells your age. I mean, I'm also like TEFSA.
Yeah, TEFSA. Anyway, by the way, I went to university when I was only 15 because I happened to start school early.
Yeah.
So when I turned 16 while I was already at university.
Yeah.
So TEFSA was saying, who's this 16-year-old now looking for a bursary? Anyway, the first year my parents paid, and I got TEFSA for the rest of the time that I was there. When I went to UWC, the idea was to say, hey, man, I'm in too many things. I mean, just YCS, NSOC. Now I was a vice president of the SRC under SASCO, that's a coalition government where the Christians and the SASCO. These things, all of what you are seeing now is a repeat move.
It's a repeat of history.
It's a full repeat move. So when I go to UWC, I say, I want to go somewhere where nobody knows me, man.
Yeah.
So I can just study. Because I remember my late mother used to say, when I go to university, used to say to me, when they riot, just lock your door and study.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't listen to her for the first year because I was already in the SRC, even the first year when I was...
You were studying law there?
No, I was studying law at UWC.
At the UWC, yes.
At TEFLOP, I didn't study law, but I was part of a disciplinary committee.
Oh.
Now, that's the prefect. Kicking in now. As I got there, I said, hey, this place is chaotic. TEFLOP was the most chaotic place. If you want to survive, if you survive TEFLOP, you can survive anything in life.
SRC used to lose their time in office if you did not organize a strike for that particular year.
Well, I don't know.
There was a strike every year.
Yeah, all I know is that there was a reason for a strike at TEFLOP when I got there. I was there in 1989, right? And we had the army on campus.
Jeez.
The army camped on campus. There was a copy on campus, like a little mountain. They were there, and then they were outside the campus. So if you start rioting, they just come in and beat you up. Right? And then they would arrest our leaders at night. A chap called Victor, him, Victor Komeswana was our Secretary General in those days. And they used to tell him to say, Victor, sometimes at night people are alone.
Yeah. Wow.
And then because he was one of the rebels here and Koza in the front line. One of the strikes that is memorable is when there was an accommodation crisis. Same thing.
Yeah.
Same movie.
Same issues.
Right? Do you know that that strike, what was very funny because students always say, we'll not go back to class until our demands are met. In this case, we said we're not going to class until we see the earth move.
Yeah.
In other words, they must start building before we go to class.
Wow.
And they did, right? They constructed what was called prefabricated units.
Yes.
Believe it or not, those units are still standing.
Oh, wow. Now, when you say prefabricated, because
they're still standing.
I did 1 year at University of the North. That's a different story. It's not for today. And those prefabricated rest are still there.
They're still there.
I stayed in one.
Yeah, and they were named after struggling heroes. Of course, by the way, they thought I named the thing after myself. Those who ignore it. Steve Biko House and things like that. Yes. So those
they were all lined up.
Those prefabs are still there.
Yes,
today, and I was wondering what kind of material did they use? They decided, no, they're gonna look like prefabs, but this is it. Yeah. We're not gonna build any more residences. Anyway, going fast forward to UWC where I did law, I arrived there. The first 2 years, I registered an LLB.
Yeah.
So the first 2 years, I kept my head down. Remember, I was already an international leader of Anglican students, so I used to be off to New York, but when I'm on campus, I'm in my room or I'm in the library. Simple. I'm not attending SASCO.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to comrades.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, guy, you need to pass.
Yeah.
Which was good. I mean, I passed in flying colors the first 2 years.
Yeah.
And unlike your BA degree with LLB, I was doing 8 courses at a time. Second year, 9 courses at a time. And then at the end of the second year, I met two guys called Ayanda and Andy Lenkulu. They've passed away now.
Yeah.
Those are the people who introduced me to politics.
Yeah.
They said, comrades at Teflop told us you are hiding here.
Yeah.
There's no way you can do this. And at that point, SASCO was losing. It actually had lost office.
Were they at the same university?
They were at the same university.
Okay.
They were at UWC.
Yes,
but obviously, people in the same organization talk and say, yeah, but that guy is,
there's a guy
left
there.
Yeah, he came there. What's happening? But they came to look for me. And then in my first meeting of SASCO in the second year, the end of the second year, I was elected as chairperson of SASCO.
Yeah.
Don't ask how that happened, but it was my first meeting, and I was appointed chairperson.
You were in third year.
No, I was going to third year. I was still in second year, finishing second year, and I was now going to go third year. They made me president of SASCO, chairman of SASCO, and I became president of the SRC the following year. So my task was to get SASCO back into office.
Yeah.
I became president of SRC twice.
Yeah.
And in those 2 years, I can't tell you, my academic record looked like a mess. It looks so messy that at the end of now 4 years, I had enough courses to convert my degree into a B.Proc and leave.
Like, I'll take what I can.
Yeah, I'll take what I can. I have a degree, I have a law degree. I don't know. I don't think that degree still exists. B.Proc doesn't exist.
I think a lot.
And I went to work,
Yeah.
And I went to work for government.
Yes.
Straight after my law degree, worked at the Department of Constitutional Development. Another long story.
Yeah.
I was actually an intern.
What year is this?
This is 1998.
1998.
Yeah, this is 1998.
Okay.
I was looking for any job. I just had a baby. I just got married. I got married while I was on campus, by the way. At 25. Don't ask any more detail. But I needed any job. So now these guys, the same guys who introduced me to politics, said to me, no, we know Mohammed Vali Musa. Now this is where Kida deployment started.
Yeah.
We know Mohammed Vali Musa. He's looking for a spokesperson.
Yes.
The spokesperson has gone abroad to study. So please come, let's go and talk to him.
Yeah.
He's saying you must come for an interview.
Yeah.
So I go with them actually. They're sitting there, the minister takes out my CV. The interview lasted 10 minutes. He looked at the CV and said, wow, you really cracked these courses, eh?
Yeah. Which ones are you showing him?
Now I'm showing the whole academic transcript.
Yeah.
It says, year 1 fail, BSc, but then BA, distinctions, B.Proc or LLB.
Yeah.
And then he says, hey, what happened? What happened to the last 2 years?
Yeah.
So he just asked me one question. That was the final, that was the ultimate. He just says to me, how do we know you can do a full day's work?
Why?
That's all. No, because I'm just out of university.
Oh, yeah.
I just got my degree.
Oh, yeah.
I've never had a job in my life as far as my CV is concerned.
Yeah.
So how do you know you can do a full day's job? Then I said to him, the stuff that I have done since 1989 are more than a full day's work.
Yeah.
In fact, some of your staff
no.
can get some of those things right.
Yeah.
So my activism of leading organizations, locally, regionally, internationally. I was able to budge on key things, including, how do you manage people? How do you do performance management? Because I had full-time people working for me, both when I was SRC president at UWC and when I was head of the International Youth Network with people working full-time. Those people were having full-time jobs. And I had a job to oversee those operations. So I had a long story to tell about the fact that I can do a full day's work. Because being a student leader. You have been
doing it for,
in the church, in society, in communities, etc. And by the way, I just started my own business. And that was good because then I was able to talk about that to say, it's not that I haven't worked, As we started, me and a few friends started the business of training where we used our experiences in student leadership to train new leaders. So we went around the country to do what you call orientation training for SRCs. So someone who used to be the general secretary of SRC would create a manual for how to be an effective general secretary of an SRC, create a manual about how to be president, how to be treasurer. So by the time I went to my first interview, I was able to say, well, this is what I've been doing. In fact, I remember that when they called me to say I got the job, I was actually doing a training for SRC at DUT, sorry. Because I didn't think I was going to get the job. Because the interview lasted 5 minutes. And then this guy said to me, hey, please go and talk to Pax Mankatlan. And he's so resting. So now I get to Pax Mankatlan because this is supposed to be the second interview now. I go to Pax Mankatlan and Pax Mankatlan gets there and says, hey, Chief, this is not an interview, it's a meeting. How? I thought I'm coming for an interview. I'm with a suit. We had a chat with Pax for an hour. And then he calls the minister and says, take him or I'm taking him. As simple as that. That's how I got my first job.
Wow.
Right? I became a spokesperson of government, never left. When the guy who was filling in for came back, he was asked politely to go and find another job. A chap called Mpomu Zima, and I always, poke him when I see him to say, he says, you never left. I indeed didn't leave. I stayed there until I was at the highest level of government communications as head of communication for the environmental department.
This is Mbeki's days.
It was actually, it was a transition between Mandela and Mbeki. 98, Mandela was still there, and Mbeki came. So I sort of served in both administrations. One of the biggest highlights for me in working for government was to be the head of communications for the World Summit on Sustainable Development. It's a big deal in South Africa. I convened a large communication and marketing committee of 100 communicators from all over the world who had to make sure that this massive gathering of world leaders happens here in Sandton. So after that, there was nothing else to do in government because the way the World Summit was structured was a combination of all the departments. Because you had to deal with various streams. So it means you had communicators from all the departments. So we had to work together to create one message for South Africa, position South Africa as a world leader in sustainability. After that, myself and Sipho Ngwema, who was the spokesperson of the Scorpions then, were appointed government or elected government communicators of the year because of the work that we did there, because the work that he did when the Scorpions were still the flavor of the month. So that was my government stint there, thanks to somebody like Mohammed Vali Musa, taught me everything I know about the media. By the way, I didn't study media at all. I only studied media as a PhD towards the end of my academic spectrum. But before that, I had to rely on the fact that I was an activist. And then my first stint was to work in constitutional development. So I had to learn the job while I'm going. Which is what you say at an interview. Can you do the job? Yeah, I can do it. I've done it before, and then I have to find something to say. As a leader in all these areas, I had to deal with the media myself. So it was not, sort of a complicated thing as far as I thought until I got there. And then the guy who I was filling in for didn't even leave one piece of paper for me as a handover.
You start from scratch.
And I said to him, hey man, is there an orientation? He says, no, but you said you can do the work. Can you get on with it?
Get cracking.
So it was very, very exciting. And that's why even today, in my business, I take on interns.
Yeah.
Because I know
what to give someone a chance.
What somebody who just get given a chance because of their potential can turn out to be.
Yeah.
You understand?
Absolutely.
If they had said to me, well, you didn't study any communication, sorry, I don't know what I would have turned out to be. What job was I going to get? First of all, this law thing was truly boring. I must be honest. And I didn't see myself standing in front of a court trying to argue,
Yeah.
And maybe I should have done that. It would have had less trouble than I have to deal with now,
And your PhD you did that at Wits, and it was in media.
Yeah, so my PhD was on the relationship between the media and the state in the period of democracy. So I looked at how did Mandela relate with the press. So we had a chapter on an essay, Mandela and the media.
Yeah.
Then another essay, Mbeki and the media. Another essay, Zuma and the media. And I completed my PhD before Ramaphosa's term was in full swing.
That would have been...
Thanks goodness. But anyway, I'm writing...
Ramaphosa and no media.
Yeah. Well, that's a chapter. Well, thank you for that. I think that's what I'll term that chapter. So I'm putting my one of my books that I will do in the next while. I just didn't want to touch that material after 4 years. When you do a PhD, after 4 years, you see double because now this material you have looked at it. My supervisor, Professor Glenda Daniels, after she made comments on 2 of my chapters, and there were many comments and so on. I had 35 drafts for my PhD. Then I realized I'm still on draft 2. I must stop complaining.
Yeah.
But because it was a subject I'm passionate about, because when I say Mandela in the media, I'm not talking about stuff that is in the textbook. I was there.
Yes.
I was there. I interacted with Pax Mankatlan, who was the presidential spokesperson. I interacted with Joel Nechitenze, who was the policy head as well as head of GCIS. We've never been able to repeat that. Right? I've interacted with Jacob Zuma's administration, Minister of Communications there, the Faith Mutambis of this world. I've interacted with the Temba Maseko. So there was a PhD waiting to happen. So when I went to my master supervisor and said, I now want to do a PhD in media economics, how the advertising world and I says, no, why would you do such a complicated topic, man?
Yeah.
You have done this thing for the last 20 years. That's your PhD.
That's the PhD.
But what irritated me, by the way, into the PhD was listening to a fellow professor from Wits. His name runs away. Right? I'll remember him before the end of this conversation. So this guy says in a radio interview, right? He thinks that GCIS, right, and the government spokesperson must be separated.
Yeah.
In other words, the person who sits who's the head of GCIS must not be the government spokesperson.
Yeah.
So I said, what does this guy know what he's talking about? But remember, he's a professor, a young professor of Wits, Anton Haber.
Yeah.
So we must all listen to him. And he was speaking nonsense. Because in government communications, right, you cannot know what's going on if you don't sit on cabinet.
Yeah.
If you are a GCIS head and you don't sit on cabinet, you're going to always get it wrong.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's not about what was discussed, what was decided. It's about what was not decided.
Absolutely.
It's about the nuances.
The details.
And part of why government communications is poor right now is because you don't even, for 10 years, you didn't have a head of GCIS, which meant that you didn't have somebody with gravitas who can say to the minister, keep quiet.
Yeah.
Don't say that way, say it this way. The same way as Joel would do. Joel didn't only do that. Joel used to convene us as government communicators and say, guys, next week in cabinet, this is what's going to be decided. Because remember, the way cabinet cycle works, that you've got a cabinet committee that drafts a decision for cabinet.
Yeah.
So already before, a week before, you know what cabinet is going to decide, unless they amend it.
Yeah.
So Joel calls you and says, listen, there's a cabinet memo coming from your department.
Yeah.
Cabinet is going to decide X. So be ready. When the cabinet says over, cabinet is over, and you get that head of communication, or in that case, Joel, comes to report, is able to say, the cabinet decided that there's going to be a World Summit on Sustainable Development. JJ is going to deal with the detail, or Minister of such and such is going to deal with the detail. Now, you're not surprised at that point. Right? What we find now is that some of the government communicators just learn, like all of us, from Minister Tabane what was decided in cabinet.
The thing is also everyone communicates now. Like there's press briefing.
But the trouble is, if you had experts, or so-called experts, now talking, right, because of their big title, just without the actual knowledge. I just said, no ways. This requires me to actually, or maybe they'll listen to me when I'm doctors and professor. So I'm going to do the PhD on this thing, right? And part of the trouble was that now my supervisor says, well, who said this? Now, I write opinion pieces. I've written more than 2,000 opinion pieces in my life. But now the PhD was not an opinion piece. And now I had to justify every sentence except for the last chapter where I come up with recommendations. So now I need to go and research to confirm the knowledge that actually I have. Right? But what was good was that when you're doing a PhD, when you are doing research and you are having what is called focus groups or intensive interviews, etc.
The qualitative.
You need to actually know who you're going to interview. Otherwise, if those people are going to take 3 months or 4 months to get you an appointment, you're in trouble. So all the people that I needed to interview were actually in my phone. And I came up with a list of 30 people I had to interview, right? 30 people that I could create into frank dialogues. This is where the frank dialogue also came in. And instead of doing focus groups, I did frank dialogue. So because my PhD was about relationship between media and the government, I brought government communicators and media practitioners into a frank dialogue and say, let's talk about your relationship. And that was the material, right? Including on my radio program. I actually invited some of them to talk as a dialogue on air, right? And that made that PhD fun. You know, I mean, one of my fellow PhDs, the Dr. Ralph Maptek, who did a PhD before me, said to me, don't rush to finish. Part of the PhD is that the journey itself, it's what is fulfilling, not that you finished, right? Because by the time you finish it and you look at your first chapter, you want to change your first. In fact, you have to change your first chapter because now suddenly you have learned so much.
You've learned so much through the
process. Because what is the purpose of a PhD? Is to create new knowledge.
New knowledge,
and I believe that those who care to read it, I mean, a few people ask for it, but not too many. But it's at the library. You go to that last chapter, it will tell you how to do government communications properly. How to do media-state relations properly.
And the recommendations for further studies.
Absolutely.
So how do you end up in media?
Look, it was an accident. I was in communications largely. Wrote a book that's called Let's Talk Frankly.
Let's Talk Frankly,
Right, and then approached
a collection of various
letters. Approached by a fellow called Clayson Monyela. Clayson had run a radio station called Ubuntu Radio. It's interesting because it's actually a government radio station. It just happened to be based at DECO. And said, Norman, come. I want to come and do a show. We won't tell you what to do. That was his. Said he knew exactly how to trigger me. We won't tell you what to do. Just come and do a radio. So my first radio show was called Frank Dialogue. Frank Dialogue comes far.
You've been on Frank Dialogue for a long time.
So far, nobody has tried to steal it. So Frank Dialogue, that's my brand. And that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. When I get people talking. Anyway, that's what I started. And it was interesting because, from Helen Zille to Gweda Mantashe, all those people agreed to come to this Ubuntu radio thing, which we used to record here at the Rosebank Zoo with a fellow who passed away recently called Andre Walters. Andre Walters is one of the big radio legends. He had a small studio at the zoo. given by he was based in the zoo. He used to produce environmental programs and so on. Me and him started what is called virtual radios. So during the World Summit, we created a radio station for the World Summit. That's where we started working.
Pop-up type radio.
Yes, right. And then we did radio pop-up radios for the Chamber of Mines, pop-up radio for SAA, and so on. So he said, no, why don't you do our own, frank dialogue? We come to the studio and he used to adjust the mic. You must be like this. Don't pop the mic. He used to train me to do this. I don't know whether he succeeded because I was still shouting on radio later. Anyway, and then we'll send this thing to Clay Samoyela with Dropbox.
Yeah.
And you know what happened? After 2 episodes, Mandela passed away and we had to go and do a live. And this was my first live radio show, was actually to talk about Mandela's passing.
Yeah.
And now interview people live, because usually we used to record them, pre-record and edit it after, put some music. No, this time it was like, this is real. So I did that for about a year, and then I got a call from Given Makari saying, please, we're tired. He just says, can you just come and do this thing? So I thought, no, he meant maybe I must bring my show from Ubuntu. He says, no, I want to, every day. I said, oh my God, I'm going to work for this chap. This chap, we've had so many run-ins, and it doesn't seem to end anyway. But even at that point, I said, well, why does
you were friends?
No, we're friends. Yeah. Friendships, can only last up to they also have a runaway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I said to him, no, I don't. I'll think about it. I'm on my way to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
This is a very important story. I'm on my way to Ethiopia to attend a conference called VUCA Africa.
Yeah.
Or Rise Africa. And I'm going with an organization called VUCA Africa, who I was working with. And an apostle called Apostle Goboro is with me as I finished talking to Gavin, and I say that this guy is crazy, think I'm going to work for him. He must be crazy. Anyway, she doesn't respond. We go to this conference. I had just been asked to come to this conference. I wasn't even sure what was going to be discussed there, except that it's a Rise Africa. It's a side event to the AU.
Yeah.
I get there. One of the big conversations are about how people of faith have left the airwaves to the people of the world.
Yeah.
This is in a discussion. I'm sitting with the apostle, and now I turn to her and she says, there is your answer.
There is the answer.
That's how I got to work for Power.
Wow.
That's not because Given was clever, convinced me or whatever. This is how.
No, you are both my brothers, so
I know.
I still pray for peace. You know
no, there'll be peace. There'll be peace. There'll be peace. Don't worry.
I love you guys both.
Peace will come. And I don't think, this thing is not even about hatred or anything, just about principle. I find that in a media environment, and it's not just radio, even in TV and whatever. We were talking about that just with the SABC CEO lately.
Yeah.
They give you a 1-year contract, and then you must figure out whether you're going to be renewed or you're not going to be renewed, etc.
Yeah.
They give you what is called a contract, contract stint. What do they call it? Independent contractor.
Yeah.
Right? Now, according to some of the media people, in their heads, an independent contractor doesn't have rights.
Yeah.
They can just wake up one day, if they're in a bad mood, they just fire you.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that. In fact, even in that contract,
it
says, please have a hearing.
Yes.
That's all. Before you tell us how bad the person is, that's why you are getting rid of. Can you just have a hearing?
Yeah.
And,
so you didn't have a hearing?
No, there was no hearing. Actually.
But Prof, then you were fired then everywhere. You're fired there.
No, I was only fired at Power. I was never fired anywhere else.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know people, when I move from one place to another for greener pastures, they think I'm fired. No, I'm moving to greener pastures.
So where else were you fired?
No, I was never fired anywhere else.
That was the only place?
Yeah, it's the only place I was ever fired.
Oh, that's how you got into the media.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
So I went from Power, I went to Newsroom Africa.
Yeah.
I did 1 season. And just during COVID, I took a leave.
Yeah.
I was running away from COVID, relaxed. And then when COVID sort of tapered down, I went back to them and they said, well, we're not ready and so on. And ENC said, how much were you being paid there for 5 days? You can come here for 1 day for the same amount. I said, what? I'm there.
Take it. That was ENCA.
I'm there, yeah. And I've been at ENCA.
So your last gig
5
was with
years.
ENCA.
Yeah, 5 solid years at ENCA.
Why did you leave, bro?
Well, it was 5 years.
It was after interviewing Zuma.
No,
is there a relationship between the two?
No, remember I interviewed Zuma in May last year. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
In May last year. I still stayed for almost a whole
We're still
season.
waiting for that interview.
No, the interview is coming.
What happened to it?
It will be on my podcast.
Why did it not air?
Ask ENCA.
No, you were there.
No.
You were the man who did the interview.
Ask them why they didn't air it.
What do you think they did not air it?
What do you think?
I don't know. I was not there.
Well, I don't want to impugn anything. They said, well, it's 2 days before the elections. The law doesn't allow. They had a full bench of lawyers to come and talk to me about it. I said, oh, okay, that's fine.
But it's way past elections. Surely you can tell us.
No, that's the official reason I was given.
Yeah.
And I always...
Was this after they viewed it?
Of course. Why would they...
What's there?
Why would they not air something they have not viewed?
Tell us.
I can't tell you because then you won't watch my podcast. We're going to restage the interview because for a simple reason, right? We must never allow, right, the creeping in of dictatorship or censorship in our however it comes cloaked. Maybe cloaked in legalese or whatever.
But we should have the conversation. We should allow the conversation.
But I'm saying you may disagree with Zuma. I'm the one of Zuma's worst critics.
Yeah.
If you listen to my shows since 2016, in fact, other people are saying if Zuma wasn't there, they don't think I would have been, my show would have been number 1 on radio.
Yeah.
Because there's so much terrible things happening that you needed to talk about them. There was no ignoring what Zuma was doing at all. Now, from that kind of criticism and so on, right, to actually get that interview in the first place was a long time coming because we didn't ask him for it. It was a 2-hour long interview. And I asked Zuma everything I've been wanting to ask him. Right?
I'm looking forward to it. I hope it comes out.
Well, they can release it, but I doubt. But we will restage it. Yes, in principle agreed.
Yeah.
And whenever he's ready, I will be ready.
Yeah.
We will interview him, and I will ask him to repeat some of the things he told me in that interview, which made them not air it.
Yeah. Well, it's an amazing story, Prof. Thanks for sharing it with us. What do you do today? What do you do currently?
Well, I edit 2 magazines.
Yeah.
I've been editing Leadership Magazine for the last 5 years. ENCA was really just a hobby on the side. I do many things.
I edit communication.
I edit 2 magazines, Leadership Magazine and Black Business Quarterly.
Yeah.
I run a communications company, the Sigwili Media Group, which deals with communication strategies. I do media training for clients. I do reputation management. For difficult lines.
For any of the politicians?
Any of the politicians.
All of them?
Not all, some.
Are you doing for some of them today?
No, not at the moment. At the moment, I don't have a particular client in trouble.
Yeah.
I try not to. I'm going to write a book called The Ghost Writer.
Yeah.
A friend of mine just provoked me into this book, which will tell it all.
Yeah.
Right, but it will be published when I'm gone.
Who's your most controversial client?
I can't say. You'll fall off your chair. No, Faith Mutambi was not my client. I need to tell the story of Faith Mutambi because people always think, you're part of the Gupta thing. I wasn't. I was actually a consultant at Brand South Africa when Faith Mutambi was appointed. And guess what? When she was appointed, I was shortlisted to be the CEO of GCIS.
Yeah.
Right? And then elections came. And myself and Ronnie Mamwepa, may his soul rest in peace, were the 2 front runners.
Mm.
And there was going to be a panel of ministers to interview us and what have you. And then Faith Mutambi was appointed. And I said, who the hell is this?
Yeah.
We're all shocked. I said, oh no, there goes my job, man, Because we don't know who's this. But I just happened to be at the right place at the right time because I was consulting for Brand South Africa, which reports to Faith Mutambi.
Yeah.
So Faith Mutambi just said, hey, can you please second this person to me?
Yeah.
To help me, because I don't have staff, I don't have a DG, I don't have anything. I don't have a spokesperson, etc. That's how I got to work for Faith Mutambi. Work for her as a minister. I met there. I don't know her from a bar of soap.
Oh, you must give me one of them.
And we had a very good relationship with her, by the way. I mean, she had her own weaknesses.
One name.
But truly, no. I've had many interesting clients. I mean, some of them is not really a secret. But here's the issue. The issue is that an organization in trouble, right? That's my cup of tea.
Okay.
And I come and assist.
Organization.
So, for example, in 2000 and maybe 15, Eskom was my client. It was the most difficult client. I mean, Brian Molefe was hard to advise.
Yeah.
Right? He was very difficult to advise because he found us there trying to help Eskom and then we held them through the process of firing their CEO, whoever it was. Yeah. And then when he came, he says, "Who are you guys?"
Why hard to advise?
No, he wouldn't listen.
He's got his own.
Yeah. No, there's a certain generation of people who don't listen to the people in their same generation.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
This guy says, I went with this guys to school. Or who is he to tell me how to run this place? I'm running a big thing here. Don't come and tell me. In fact, I remember he and the chairman then, Ben Gubani, I think she's passed away as well. They were very adamant that they're not going to talk about solar. I hear them talking now, making noise and so on. They said, how can we support something that's going to compete with Eskom?
So they were long on.
Are you surprised now that there was load shedding late?
Yeah.
Because there was no vision that says, listen, you now have electrified the whole country, 90% of the country.
Yeah.
You can't work on the same grid of 1970.
And generation capacity.
Yeah, you need to look at multiple sources of income, energy mix. No. Primarily, he wanted to beat our head off. And he said, no, you need to talk about solar.
Yeah.
You need to talk about, he says, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to fund the competition and so on.
Yeah.
Poor vision, if you ask me. Not that he was different from the Mbeki era and so on.
Yeah.
They were all the same.
Yeah.
They all... but sometimes some days they accept, some days they say they don't know what happened. Yeah. But the reality is we're here. We didn't fall from the sky. We saw them neglecting, maintaining the grid.
That's right.
And that's why it's such a fresh perspective to see that Eskom
to see what Mteto and
then Marokani on top of the situation, fantastic guys. Right, of Andre De Ruyter. Right,
the guy still is able to speak. I mean, if I was him, I would
shut up.
I'll shut up.
I would truly shut up.
Jeez, man.
Anyway, so I'll just give you an example of a parastatal in trouble. There are a number of others who I've worked with. I don't need to say all of them. I'll just give you a sense of the work that I do is to say to a parastatal, just tell the truth.
Yeah.
They find that sometimes very, disturbing. Yeah. Is that the totality of your advice? Yeah. You are firing a CEO, right? You are sitting here, you are saying, let's not announce.
Yeah.
No, it's already on Media 24.
Yeah.
Remember, I was sitting in the meeting where they fired.
Own the narrative.
I said, it's already on Media 24. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I just find that there's still a lot of education to be made about how to handle media proactively, especially in public sector. Not that private sector is any better, right? But there's a sense in which there's a need for ongoing education about how to deal with the media. The media is for me, is quite a simple animal.
Yeah,
they're not perfect. Sometimes they do have their own biases and so on. But where you want to get into trouble is to try and obfuscate with them.
Yeah.
And tell them wrong information or try to run around instead of being direct.
Yeah.
This is what's happening, guys. Let's deal with it.
Nice. And you do academic work?
Of course, I lecture now at VETS.
At VETS?
I lecture politics. No, I wasn't doing anything at UJ. I saw somebody on TikTok saying that UJ gave me a professor. I don't know what he was talking about.
Yeah.
I lecture at VETS. I do politics and honors. Honors students.
Yeah.
Politics and media rather.
Yeah.
And I also am a adjunct professor of media studies at the University of Botswana.
What is adjunct professor?
Adjunct, it's like maybe it's on honorary, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's it's not a full professorship.
Okay.
It's a professor that is linked to industry.
Okay.
Right? So they appoint you because of your industry cloud or knowledge or stature.
Yeah.
So the University of Botswana appointed me there I'm doing special projects for the student in the media department there. Amongst other things, they've just turned their campus radio into an FM.
Okay.
Right? So that was almost a year's process.
Yeah.
Well, I'm busy now working on a television station for the university. And they've asked that we turn Botswana into a continental media hub.
Yeah.
Right, where we should start talking seriously about how do we tell the African story anew.
Yeah.
How do we tell this story anew? And I'm hoping that association with Botswana, association with NEPAD, which is one of my clients, basically working with the African Union, right? We're going to be looking at partnerships around the continent, right, to restructure the media landscape of Africa.
Yeah.
So that's what's keeping me. What's keeping me
Do you
awake.
Sleep?
I sleep a lot.
You're still involved heavily in church stuff, Anglican.
Not heavily.
Do you go to church?
Not heavily. I go to church. We have our parish is in Monseville because I live in Krugersdorp.
Yeah.
We go to a parish that's very vibrant in Monseville.
Okay.
St. Paul's. So I still go to church there, but I'm not heavily involved.
Okay.
I work a lot with the Archbishop of Cape Town whenever he has a project or whatever.
Yes.
I know that I have to be at his beck and call. He's just said to me, "That's your ministry to me."
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of interesting things together. He used to be our chaplain actually of the Anglican Students Federation back in the 80s and the 90s. So he's a very good fellow.
Your potential clients know where to find you. I cannot even say, okay, tell the people who might be looking for reputational management.
No,
this is where they can find you.
Sigwili.co.za.
Sigwili.co.za.
Yeah, or frankdialogue.com.
Okay.
Yeah, so those are the two companies.
Do you know you've got a Wikipedia page?
I know. I mean,
do you know the stuff that's there? I printed it.
They're not always accurate,
Let's see. Let me tell you what they say about you. One is you're a South African communication strategist. People can check this out for themselves. And then it says alma mater, Wits University, PhD.
Yeah.
Political party, African National Congress. Other political affiliations, Congress of the people.
Yeah.
That's what it says. And then we'll talk about some of this stuff. Rose to prominence, SAA, it says. At some point you were spokesperson.
Yes, I was the vice president of communications.
What have you not done in communications?
No, I've done many things I haven't done.
Department of Environmental Affairs, Altron.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how you came across agility and Mandla Lamba.
Oh man, please. I hope not to talk about that.
It's here. Where is he?
I have no idea.
How did you come across that guy?
Yeah.
Were you scammed?
Interesting. I don't know whether I was scammed. I wouldn't put it quite like that.
He was also in.
Yeah, he was an influencer. They're promoting Mandla
This guy comes from jail and just to scam you, bro.
Yeah. Look, I mean, many people who come from jail. There's your Minister of Sports is from jail. So I'll never judge somebody because they came from jail. In fact, I wrote a whole piece of Mandla in my magazine.
But you're not doing anything with him.
No, not for years now. But his story was quite an interesting one, and maybe he tells it well, right? In terms of how he moved from crooked behavior into finding God, and the things that he's now doing, going to communities, doing CSI projects, taking people to school. In fact, one of his businesses is one of the Curo schools, or I may be wrong with the name, but it's one of the independent private schools in Joburg. So he's, besides this funny business, of get people buying shares from him and what, he seems to be doing other things. So I wrote a story that says, no one person is one-dimensional. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I think Katie McKenzie may just be the example that we're going to use again. Yeah. Here's a person who was a gangster in prison, served their time, comes out. Even he himself, I'm sure he's surprised, he's now in the cabinet of a country. I don't think he bargained for that.
Must be interesting TV content for
none of us
people
are,
in jail.
None of us are perfect. It's easier to pick on the ones that are doing wrong things. They're beating up their wives, or it's easy to pick on those things because they are in front of us. Those people who have lost any kind of shame, like what we see at the Madlanga Commission and at this ad hoc. I mean, this Minister of Police has absolutely no shame left. That's really my assessment so far. I'm sorry to be judgmental too fast, but I think the guy has lost all sense of shame. Right? The best thing that you could have done is to resign.
We'll come to that. Because, I looked up some of the Mandla Lamba content and I was like, okay, maybe it's the benefit of hindsight. It's flashy. He's got bodyguards in his content. I'm like, what is this?
Forget about that.
How did...
Who in South Africa is leading the charge on electric vehicles?
Is that him?
No, but I'm saying who? Because he was the only one who was leading that charge, not he only.
I know a guy, but he's not in the big car stuff.
But I'm saying that
he's running a business called Scooter.
This guy had huge potential to turn something into gold. I don't know what he has done with it.
He messed it up.
I don't know why he's quiet. I don't know what he's doing. Because, with entrepreneurs, I've run many businesses that failed and succeeded and whatever. I never write somebody's last chapter of entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
Right? It's and once somebody has they are focused in the right place, right? They should be given a chance to succeed. And that's how we're gonna crack unemployment in this country. We're not gonna crack it.
I also did not want to spend too much time on him. I was just like, I was thinking about Wikipedia and I was like, agility, a chairperson. And then Konvo.
That was an interesting
so you
bypass.
You were thinking of going into politics?
No, I've been in politics for
as a politician, not as a practitioner.
Not even.
You were also doing communication there.
Exactly.
Okay.
I went there as a professional. Myself and Sipho Ngwema, Palesa Murudu, a chap called Lorato Tsenkeng, a chap called Luzu Kokoti. Right, that was my team, which I assembled.
For communication.
When I joined Konvo as a communicator. I was actually the first chief information officer of Konvo. I was not a politician. In fact, the president of Konvo used to kick us out of the meetings. To say, can the staff please leave? Terra was funny like that. He's the one who destroyed the thing. How do you say your communicators must get out of a meeting? And then you decide things there the whole day. Then you say to them, can you please tell the public what we discussed? How do we know? You were not there.
Who was behind Konvo?
Well, I
know there have been stories.
What are the stories?
I don't know, breakaway of the ANC, other people.
No. Konvo was formed by people within the ANC. I think that's enough to say. If you look at the key leaders of Konvo, very few of them were not in the ANC. Right? Whether you talk about Ngonyama or even Alan Busak, who sort of tried to come in and was kicked out. Right? You look at Mbazima Shilowa. All of these guys were in the ANC. And that's part of the problem.
Wasn't Mbeki in the Konvo?
The problem, no, Mbeki was more of they used to call him a Dalai Lama. In other words, just a father who was supportive of the idea, right? But it would be wrong to say he was a member. He was never a member. He was very clear about that. But the issue is, right, the problem with the failure of Konvo is because it was actually an ANC light. Right?
It took...
Even the habits. Even the habits of these leaders. And I know some of them are angry with me. Some of them don't even talk to me because you guys ask me in this podcast to say things. They don't talk to me. They say, how can you say this about us and so on? But I may give you an example of a meeting. Terra Lekota goes to a big conference of Konvo and says almost something that the BTA is saying today is interesting, funny. Race will no longer be a criteria for affirmative action. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy notion. What is affirmative action if he's not going to talk about race? He says this in a launch meeting, launch conference in Bloemfontein. Repeats this. I repeat, race will not be criteria for affiliation. Okay. So we then say to him afterwards, Amon, I mean, you said the wrong things. We need to do damage control. We need to get the Black Lawyers Association on and everybody to talk. And now we are putting our spin doctors' heads on. He's killing us.
Yeah.
Because he was basically saying, we don't need BEE, you don't need this thing. In fact, he already said it in some of our meetings. He asked me, I remember my first meeting where I almost regretted in my first meeting why the hell I joined this.
Yeah.
Because Sarah says something like, why BEE? Why BEE? Why not economic empowerment? Why BEE?
Yeah.
My God. Must we give a lecture about what does BEE stand for? Which is what I had to do in my first meeting. To say, no, Chief, this is the elements of BEE. Ownership, this. And he's writing furiously. It doesn't cannot sit on cabinet where they discuss this thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to that story. We come to a meeting of executives, of the top executives, at the beginning of the new year.
Yeah.
Remember, we launched in December, now we're in January. We're now coming to plan. The elections are coming, we're coming to plan. And then Tara's not in this meeting. There are all these leaders, and Bazima is chairing the meeting. We say, we need to issue a statement to contradict what the president said.
Yeah.
We didn't put it quite like that first, because they want to be defensive. We must correct it, that there's no such a thing as a policy.
Yeah.
Because we are speaking at the end of the conference, people assume this is what we spent 3 days discussing.
Yeah.
You know what they said? They said, no, he never said that.
Wow.
They said he never said so.
And he's in the meeting?
No, he's not in the meeting.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can say that because he's not in the meeting.
Yeah.
Right? I said, not only did he say so, he repeated it.
Yeah.
You want us to open the laptop now and show you his speech? But that meeting resisted to contradict him.
Yeah.
Right? That sounds exactly like the ANC. When they were faced with Zuma in 2020, in 2009, they set up a committee to go and exonerate Zuma and come up with a fake judgment from that, not judgment, this pronouncement from this NPA head who dusted off some old judgment from God knows where.
Yeah.
Right? It's exactly the same playbook.
Oh, the guy who made it all about the tapes. And,
exactly.
Yeah.
Not even about that. He just got Mche.
Yeah.
It's a shame that he's from Opani around the area. Terrible chap. No backbone. You understand? So what killed COPE is that it wanted to be an ANC light.
Yeah.
Right? And in fact, some of them even verbalized the fact that, this is our own thing, and what are these people talking about? This is our own thing. And people always ask, why was there so much fighting between Bazima and Tara? We even had to bring Reverend Dandala.
Yes. Middleman, I guess.
Yeah, who's truly a prophet, that fellow. And he regrets having gone that route.
Yeah.
But we brought him because these ones couldn't get it together.
Wow.
Right? They couldn't agree on anything.
I feel like COPE was such a lost opportunity for South Africa. I mean, and South Africa gave it a chance. I mean, at the time, I think it went into elections without going into a policy conference and all of that, and it got 1.3 million. That's how much South Africans were looking for an option.
Part of what killed
and then they blew it.
Oh, yeah, what blew it was its potential, in a sense, in an ironic sense.
Yeah.
Why am I saying this? Both Mbazima and Tara, I don't care what they think. All right, they both saw themselves as head of state. That's how big a potential.
But this thing
because this was a first real split in a long time of the ANC. Right?
Yeah,
and there were people within the ANC who were coping quietly.
Yeah,
so it gave them this group, gravitas, or rather, if you like, energy and belief and hope that this thing actually will take over what the ANC government, right?
Yeah.
But Balua will tell you, that's what even the intelligence told them.
Psychologists often say, like, sometimes what we complain about, you were talking about how we see one side of the person, we don't see the other.
Yeah.
Because this whole play of egos, as you say, whether it was between Shilowa and Lekota, it just keeps replaying. I mean, we'll talk about elements of some of the things that happened post-elections in 2024.
Yeah.
Where I also just thought it's a no-brainer that EFF and MK should come together and build something bigger, and it didn't.
Yeah.
Again, egos, personalities. The latest one is Unite for Change. I don't know if you've seen Unite for Change.
Yeah, well, they're united in their 6%. They're together. They are united in a corner, which is still going to make a little impact. And
every time they speak, they must say, they must stress that the speakers are in no particular order. Right?
Yeah.
And of course, it goes, starts with Bosa. I think they go by alphabetical order, which is an
really?
order. Right?
I didn't pick that up.
Yeah, no. So it's Bosa speaks, Good speaks, and then...
But they've got a good idea. It's just that good idea, like COPE...
But put someone in charge.
No, wait. That good idea, like COPE, is badly executed.
Yeah.
Part of the bad execution at COPE was two guys, old men, who just could not decide who amongst them should be the leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. That's part of the problem.
But it's because, and I want you to remember this, it's because they both saw themselves as head of state.
Absolutely.
Why am I saying that? You laugh at this. So we go to parliament, we get 36 seats. Remember, Tandala is the head of the parliamentary caucus.
Yes.
Because we was our presidential candidate.
Yes.
We already treat him like a president with a presidential unit around him.
Yeah.
We treated it as a president's office, which I had the honor to run, right? And without digressing, I said to him at some point, Reverend, who's going to be your cabinet?
Yeah.
Because when you look around, he says, when I look around, I just see chaos.
Yeah.
That's why I say that guy's a prophet.
Yeah.
Because he had said, in fact, if COPE loses elections, it will be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
We didn't want to hear that message when we were on the front line campaigning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But look at what happened. We get 36 seats, not 400 seats, 36. Terra then says, I want to go to parliament.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chief. To do what? You told the country you are not looking for position.
Yeah.
Secondly, the leader of our caucus, our presidential candidate, is going to be the leader of the opposition in parliament.
Yeah.
You stay at the head office. Imagine if we had won elections.
Jesus.
And Tandala was our presidential candidate.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that Terra would have taken him out. And I mean literally. I don't mean take him out in caucuses. Take
you
him
think that
out.
big?
I'm not thinking it. I know it. And he must come and say here, crook that chap.
Sure.
Crooked to the core. You understand? How do you have an organization that has a hit list where people are listed to say, eliminate these people?
Inside the organization.
Inside the organization. How do you have
get
that?
them out?
No, eliminate. I'm not joking with you. You understand? This is total chaos.
That's crazy.
This guy's unleashed on all of us. I met him at one of the eating joints here in Midrand, and I said to him, you really outmaneuvered us.
Yeah.
Right? He got Mbazima to walk far away from politics with rubbish allegations of corruption, which were not the case. You can blame Mbazima for many things, not corruption. But here's the corrupt one. The story of that guy is yet to be told. As Malema said in Parliament, when consciousness lives, it doesn't knock.
Yeah.
That guy's lost all consciousness. Why would he stay, even after a stroke?
Yeah.
He still hold on to power to a point where people come to a press conference to try and remove him and whatever. He destroyed any potential of that place.
Yeah.
Single-handedly.
Sure.
And if there's my only regret about COPE is terror. If I knew how he is, I would not have gone there. Right? Anything else I don't regret. I think that the ANC needs a counterforce. They were too arrogant.
Yeah.
And
they still do need.
No, at least right now they are getting better. Because GNU has humbled them a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? But in the Zuma and Mbeki era, they were worse.
Yeah.
Right? They remind me when I go to university, Sansco. At that point, it was still called Sansco. Sansco had a slogan saying, Sansco is all students and all students are Sansco.
Yeah.
What nonsense. What nonsense. I mean, and you are at university where you are supposed to have a diversity of thought, you come with a slogan like that. You know? So it's the same people who used to say Sansco is all students and all students are Sansco, who are now these Mutsunus of this world, who are running around here with crooked networks and so on.
Yeah.
When the likes of Prince Machel says this is a criminal enterprise, right? You can't blame them, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about, so I think you helped us lay the foundation. I think what I appreciate the most is just really get to know a lot more of, you've got an amazing story that is often not told. But you spoke about COPE and the statement that was made at a conference. Was it a conference about Black affirmative action? So maybe that's a nice segue into the recent conversations you had about the future of BEE.
Yeah.
What are the key things, insights that came out of there, and what are the next steps of that? What's your views broadly on this? Because it continues to be a contentious issue, this BEE space.
I think it's important to start off by saying BEE is one of the most well-crafted pieces of legislation in terms of the issue of the transformation agenda.
Yeah.
Quickly, if you look at the 5 elements, they talk about everything that makes up the economy.
Absolutely.
Right? They're talking about who owns the economy,
ownership,
who runs
control,
it, who's skilled or who's not skilled, enterprises,
ESG,
right, and then community social, involvement. Right? Now, if they're saying, no, BEE must talk about employment. Yes, it's there. It talks about skills. It says have a skilled workforce. Right? But don't just have a skilled workforce. Make sure that once they are skilled, integrate them into the employment equilibrium. Right? A company on the JSE called there's a HR company, I'll remember its name now. AdCorp. Right? Came up with a report as far back as 2009, which showed that there were just close to 800,000 professionals who were without a job, who are skilled. They're not just black roaming around. There are people who have gone to technicans or universities or whatever else. There are skills, they can walk into a job tomorrow. Right? I'm not sure where that number sits now. I'm sure it's more in terms of unemployment. Right?
But why is it not happening? Oh, you're still telling me about the insights from...
So I'm saying that the key thing is to say there's nothing wrong with the policy.
With the policy,
right?
yes.
There's something wrong with its implementation. And I'll just pick 2 things. One, capitalization. This was a big issue that came out of there. In fact, there were suggestions which we believe must be followed up of how do you capitalize BEE? How do you capitalize with this whole issue about industrialization and what? It don't happen by automation. It didn't happen by automation during the Afrikaner days where they formed Eskom and ISCO.
There has to be money put
into it. So the biggest problem is that it is underfunded. Right? And you can't even talk about 100 billion. You're joking. Right? You must talk about trillions of money that's sitting already in the pension funds that need to be invested properly. So that's a big takeaway from there. The second part is oversight. Right? There is a limited oversight that the BEE Commission can exercise in as far as the legislative instruments are concerned. In 2007, when the BEE codes were promulgated, there was a flurry, almost a frenzy of companies wanting to comply. Right? They even did wrong things. They hired people, and I was one of the people who were hired as group executive corporate affairs.
And they created all sorts of roles.
Your job was to make sure they comply. And whenever I tell you the story, that's another story altogether. I don't want to go into that. But various companies try to crook the system to say, how can we be level 1 without including blacks as owners? Let's do all the other elements, but the ownership, no. It's a family business. It's this business. No. It's from my grandfather. You understand? And then you got a whole industry that was born out of this, of verification agencies. I don't know where the guy called Voyojek.
Yeah,
was one of the first people to form.
He did them Empower Dex.
Empower Dex, I don't know. I hope he's still around.
Empower Dex.
But there were other smaller ones and so on. Everybody was a BE. Even if you have a business, a sole proprietor, they must come and check you are black.
Yeah.
And give you a certificate that, John, you are black. We know you are John.
Yeah.
But you are black.
Yeah.
You know? So there was a flurry there was a sense in which people wanted to comply.
Yeah.
For different reasons. Others genuinely, because they thought this is the business imperative, let's do it. This is how we're gonna work here. Others thinking these guys are wasting our time. We are busy with business, they're busy with rubbish. Can we hire this person? There's a transformation office. Just deal with transformation. We'll deal with business.
Yeah.
Right? And then there was fronting.
Yeah.
Big fronting. I mean, I'm not talking about fronting of a gardener, a black gardener. No, a help. I'm talking about fronting big time.
Yeah.
Where a whole organized listed company gets a small business, right, to be their BEE partner.
Yeah.
And then simply exclude them. They don't declare dividends. They just have a different account that they are running.
Yeah. I've been dealing with paper.
It's there on paper. I've been dealing with that kind of work. One of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of years is something called BE Resolution Services. There's an organization called Polosang.
Yeah.
We said, no, Polosang, this thing needs rescue.
Yeah.
Polosang BE Resolution Services has had numerous cases of companies who come to us and say, I'm JJXYZ Ltd. I'm a BE partner of big companies. I mean, there was a case here of this big hospital group, which I don't want them to kick me out of the hospital.
Yeah, we also don't want to be sued.
Yeah, no, they can sue all they like. Right? They had to be embarrassed. We had to go to the press and say to them, but you say you are BEE compliant. You've robbed a group of disabled women from Soweto.
Yeah.
And you rob them of their what do you call it? Their dividend.
Yeah.
Pay them or else. We have to do that because what this whole BEE landscape is lacking is activism. Right? It's activism.
It's activism, it's leadership, it's the implement. I mean, it's
part of what came out of that. So the issue of lack of leadership and activism.
It's leadership.
There's no champion.
Absolutely.
Or let me say there aren't enough champions for this thing. People who have benefited from BEE and so on, very few of them talk and say, I've benefited. I had a fellow called Sandile Zungu, brilliant chap, who came to say, amazing. I'm coming to speak there to say, this is what has happened in terms of this
because of this thing.
This is not perfect.
Yeah.
And part of what afflicts the society, corruption, inefficiencies, whatever, afflicts BE. Why would BE be an island?
Absolutely.
Right?
No, it's not perfect. And it does not have to be perfect. I mean, one of the I'll let you continue, but one of the side effects, the imperfections of BE that is playing out, especially in corporates, is what in instances where management is changing from white to black. It also happens in government. It is now starting to show signs of tribalism. All right?
I'm not sure about that.
No. This is actually what is so you're starting to see Zulu management teams, petty management teams. I mean, people who work.
Serious?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not in corporate.
That's happening in corporates. That's happening in government. So if you go and speak to people who work in provincial governments, they will tell you that here, as soon as a Tsonga guy comes in,
there'll be a
this thing is going to be
detachment.
It's going to be a cleansing of, right? Now, clearly, that cannot be picked up at a BEE level because when you look on paper, these people are black.
Yeah.
But it is insane. Well, and I'm seeing that. I mean, I do much of the work in the corporate space and whatever. You come across actually tribal, and I don't know. So BE clearly not going to solve that. But back to the point, the legislation is great, needs leadership, needs capital.
And then it needs enforcement.
It needs enforcement.
Because we can't be negotiating a law that's 20 years old, really.
Absolutely.
For us to be sitting here and saying, oh, well, are the people who don't care, who don't want it because of this or that. Part of the trouble, I mean, I don't really remember when Mzwanele Manyo was still Jimmy.
Yeah,
he was the chairperson of the Employment Equity Commission.
Yes.
And every year he named and shamed companies that were not compliant.
No, you need.
When last did you hear companies being named and shamed by anybody?
No one.
You understand?
No one.
They get away with murder now. Yeah. We need a Jimmy back.
Yeah.
Like in a position like
Jimmy back to Joe.
We need Jimmy back to Joburg in a capacity of an activist who won't apologize for implementing transformation laws.
Yes.
Right? And part of what came out of here is to say we need to sit with the BE Commission and say, right, what instruments do you need?
Yes.
Right? So in terms of next steps, we are convening a smaller team.
Okay.
Right? That's going to look at some of the things that came out of there. In fact, my team just completed the report yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm still going through it. It's quite an extensive report.
Yeah.
The idea of a frank dialogue.
Yeah.
If I can also have my commercial break.
Yeah, commercial break.
It's not just to have a
You still have what?
Yeah, I have. It's not just a talk shop.
Yeah.
Right? Take, for example, the subjects that we pick are subjects where there is a contention in society.
Yeah.
Right? So, for example, there was a big contention about a national health insurance. So we hosted four frank dialogues. And that material went into Parliament.
Yes.
We didn't just say, we had a nice dialogue, bye-bye. Yeah. No. Put it together into a report. It went into Parliament to consideration.
Yeah.
In fact, some of the top officials at the Department of Health and so on said some of the things that came out of it were quite useful.
Yeah.
Right? Another dialogue we did was on construction mafia.
Yeah.
We did one here, one in KZN. We have not been too successful in getting that on the desk of anybody because then there was a new government and what have you. Right? But it's a subject which still needs to be interrogated.
That's right.
So BEE, we thought this year, no man, there's too much negative sentiment on BEE.
Yeah.
Right? Media 24 came up with a very dodgy survey saying 30% of people don't like BEE or some concocted thing. Right? World Bank came up with a thing that's no, purely for investment, get rid of this thing and so on. Crazy. Right?
Yeah.
White House meeting.
Yeah.
And people went there to apologize there.
Yeah.
Right? Be apologetic, going back, this guy, Elon Musk, to come here. No, just a cringe-worthy moment there.
That's crazy.
Right? Very cringe-worthy,
Yeah.
if you ask me. I mean, it doesn't matter. It has happened. We've seen it. And truly shouldn't surprise us if you know that our kind of leadership, don't put their foot down on anything.
Yeah.
Right? Until it's too late.
Yeah.
And then they are running around. I mean, the president today say, DE, how can DA say this or B? He knew this before he married these people.
Absolutely.
Right? So we need to look at the capitalization of the issue, look at the enforcement, and then do introspection about, and I'm not talking about the complicated, when I say introspection about activism, I'm saying you stay in a company. Right now there's a report by KPMG about 10 years ago, but by the Department of Labor 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Same report says, despite affirmative action, 70% of all new appointments and all new promotions are to white people in the corporate.
Absolutely.
And I said, that's why I say white people are laughing. I mean, I say, what the hell?
Madness. But also, this is why I saw one of the amazing presenters was Parili Hodla, amazing, ex-statistician, general statistician. And for me, you often come across people who mean well, but they come to a bad conclusion. Because what he was able to show there was what has happened to education. By the way, this is one thing that comes out too often.
Yeah.
No, until you sort out the education of black people,
nothing will happen.
No. But actually, this is how numbers can be abused. And I've said this before, that what the statistician was able to show was, if you take, let's say, degrees, right? Like people with first degree.
Yeah.
You get to a very high number among white population.
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is. Let's say 70%.
70%.
And let's say it's 10% for black.
Yeah.
Now, that gap is used to explain why you will have more white people in management positions than blacks. But I don't think that numbers need context and proportionality.
Absolutely.
So for example, if there if there were 100 people in South Africa, 90 were black and 10 were white, right? Let's say 100% of the white people had degrees. There'll be 10 of them, right? If 20% of black people had degrees, what is 20% of 90?
You understand?
It's 18.
So it means there are more.
There will still be more. There is no percent. So the percentage you use can never explain the very disproportionate representation
they don't know
of white people in management.
For me,
right? And one of the thing that really grinds my teeth, that the thing that frustrates me the most, is people make it like corporate jobs are rocket science, right? The jobs that are being done there are the jobs that can be done by, hundreds of thousands of graduates that are out there. And I've always said this, I'm not arguing for reverse racism.
Yeah.
I think there's a place for all races in South Africa. We need to continue to create space for all races. But proportionally, it's just madness where we are and seems to be stuck.
No, absolutely. For me, there are two things. One is that, in fact, in those top corporate jobs, right, you're talking leadership more than even technical ability on some of the jobs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need a combination in any corporate of leadership and skill. Right? But these ones where there's 100% white or in some companies, some of them are doing such basic jobs. The people who are doing the work are this black layer below, who has to report. But just to round off the BE conversation there, for me the issue is attitude. Right. It's truly the attitude. Do we have buy-in from some of the big corporates on BE or not? Or let's say forget BE. Let's say on transformation, right? And I find that this is where there's a difference between companies that have managed to transform and companies that are still behind. There's an attitude issue.
You need a carrot and a stick. I don't think, to the extent to which decisions are still, because the way the white people who are in the system, right? Initially, people said, no, natural attrition will take care of that. So this person will train the next person, and that person will be a candidate for transformation. But these people also think, I've got friends and family and all of that. Why should I rob them of the jobs, right? So the absorption rate of young white people continues to be much higher than the absorption rate of black people, despite qualifications. I've shared multiple views on this. It used to be about qualifications, then black people went and got all qualifications. It then became about aptitude tests, then black people were acing their aptitude
talking about
test.
Attitude is that you sit in a exco of serious people, big listed company, and these people will CEOs of companies will say to you, we can't find blacks.
No, that's rubbish.
They tell you straight, you say, really, you can't, serious, you can't find blacks. I'll find them for you.
Absolutely.
Have you ever heard of Black Management Forum or BBC or Black Lawyers Association? How can you not find blacks when there are so many blacks around who are qualified and so on? And as I was saying to you, there's a listed company, probably owned by whites, called AdCorp, right? That is sitting with a database of thousands of black executives who are without a job today, and the company next door who's also listed says, I can't find blacks. What rubbish.
No,
it's a problem that unfortunately we have been too apologetic. The whole BE legislation, by the way, was a compromise by itself. Because if you look at the fact that we said, no, don't do a wealth tax. Let's do a BE.
No, it was also voluntary targets by different sectors. We just lack leadership all around.
They were just they were a hoax. The charters were a hoax. I just gave an example about the financial sector code.
That's mad.
First of all, they give you a poor target.
No,
black should only own 10% of this industry. Why?
In the early days, that was self-imposed by the sector. It was not even given by anyone. So Prof, the last section I mean, you and I can, like, we probably can talk for another 6 hours, right? Like, you just have fascinating stories.
You need to round off now.
I want to round off with the last topic, which is, it comes back to this thing of we need leadership. Clearly, the ANC is no longer the place where we should look for that leadership. So I wanted us to just like keep it tight and just tell us, because politics matter, right? Like, so the difference between what happens in China and what happens, and this is why I hate all this black bashing thing, right? Like, in the sense, in countries where there is leadership, you can see things changing. In Rwanda, you can see things changing. So where do we look? So just talk to us about the key political players. So where do you see the ANC going? And we'll just talk about the major ones, and then maybe just like, some point talk about the smaller ones.
So let me frame it this way.
Yeah.
Just before the elections, I was probably the lone voice that was calling for a government of national unity.
Yeah.
And all these guys from Rise Mzansi, who are now going into that GNU, both in the province here and in parliament.
Yeah.
BOSA, ANC itself, DA, etc. I had them on my show. And each one of them said, GNU, bad idea. I remember the Inkatha fellow, Tlabisa, saying, you can't bring the ANC via back door through a GNU. That would be bringing them via the back door. So we're not going to be part of that. Right? All of them said all sorts of nice snippets. I played it later on after the GNU was in place.
Yeah.
Right? But why did I say you needed a GNU? Not this current one. This one is a concoction.
Yeah.
Not a GNU. It's a coalition, grand coalition between the ANC and the DA.
Yeah.
That's quite clear. Helen Zille confirmed that. I was saying that we are in such a crisis as a country.
Yeah.
That party politics won't cut it.
Yes.
People say, it's naive. How can we be? Blah, blah. But the same people have gone to a GNU of 10 parties anyway. Yeah. So my thing there was to say there are good leaders across the board.
Yeah.
Understand? I would bet on somebody like the Rise Mzansi leader, Songezo, anytime.
Songezo Zibi, yeah.
He's been through the furnace. He's been through corporate.
And Musi Maimani.
So I'll bet on a Musi.
Yeah.
Right? His politics may be different from mine. But it's somebody who, if they were put in cabinet, he will work.
Herman Mashaba.
I would bet on a Herman Mashaba.
Yeah.
I would bet
so
on
we have a mix
on a Julius Malema.
Yeah.
On a Boysen Ndlozi.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, these people are in different parties.
Yes.
So they don't see each other like that. And that's a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Because actually, if you created a GNU that is not party political, and I know that may sound naive and whatever, right? The same way people thought it's naive that Mandela will be president. I always say this, And then people are saying, no, there'll never be a black president. I mean, that was a stupid thing for PW Bora to say.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was flavor of the month.
Oh, yeah. People were clapping.
You understand?
Yeah.
So people were clapping same way. Right, to say this guy is crazy. He's the only one here. There are 5 leaders here in their own rights who are saying GNU will not fly. Right? But my approach was to say we're not starved of leadership across the board. There are leaders in. Look at what's happening in Eskom.
Yeah.
2 years ago, people would have shown that if you put a black person there, you're going to be in darkness, literally.
Yeah.
Right? You got a guy there who studied in Macau.
Yeah.
He studied in Macau, studied at UCT. Being an engineer at Eskom. Yeah. He's now at the helm of Eskom.
Yeah.
Better than anyone
has
been in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So I don't want anybody saying to me, it's doomsday, you will never find. There are leaders. The problem is that we are too much patronage driven.
Yeah.
And where does the patronage come from? It comes from a political party.
Yeah.
That's why people have this thing of deployment.
Yeah.
Right? And there's nothing wrong with Kaiser deployment, by the way. Right? There's only something wrong with how we have deployed cadres.
No. China operates almost fully on deployment of cadres.
We deploy the worst people.
Qualified people. Absolutely.
Understand? You get Dudumieni, may his soul rest in peace, right? To go and run an airline, who has never run anything. Understand? And then you say they must run. SA is a 21 billion rand, well, last I checked, was a multi-billion rand company. Right? You're giving somebody who can hardly run a classroom. Now, and this is just one example of many like that. You understand? You go into some of these parastatals, you wonder, why is this guy a chief executive? Why is this guy? In the municipalities is worse. In the whole of Northwest, not one municipality got a clean audit. Right? Are you telling me that in the entire Northwest, there are no auditors, there are no qualified people who went to university, who went to study, who can be hired by those municipalities? No, but they are not cadres, because how are we going to eat? You can't come and tell, hey, you can't just bring somebody here who's going to stop us from eating.
But this is why the ANC is contributing towards supporting this whole narrative of black people cannot lead, right? Which is utter bullshit, because they have made it so difficult for the skilled people to participate, because you're not a comrade, you're not a cadre, right? So I guess the question, I want to just ask this as brief questions on each of the parties. What happens of the ANC next? And who do you see coming in and potentially rescuing? And who's next?
Yeah. No, look, I think the issue is that I think the ANC thinks they need rescuing per se. They think that they've got a clear propaganda about renewal and what have you, renewal song, etc. So they believe that if they get rid of some of the people they don't like, the new ones who will come will revive the ANC.
Yeah.
They really believe it. They don't believe that the ANC is finished.
That's crazy.
They don't believe it at all. Right? So if you think Paul Mashatile is not going to be president, tough on you. Right?
Panyaza?
Everything, no, he's not going to be president. He said he doesn't want to be. Why would he?
They always say that.
No, but he said clearly, no, but he had a good reason. Others say it because it's a nice thing to say. What's his reason? No, his reason was to say there's still a generation that must lead.
But it sounds like Motsepe is endorsing him. He's mentioning him a lot.
No, they were just in a meeting together, man. Don't exaggerate.
I know he's your friend, but
no. Panyaza is a good leader. Let me put it out there. Panyaza is a good leader. I think he'll be a good leader of the ANC of the future.
No, I have a lot of respect to Panyaza. Did well,
but he knows politics. He knows that knives will be out for him if he even gives a sense that he wants to contest the current people who believe it's their God-given right to lead next. Okay, so if you look at the trajectory of the ANC leadership struggles, the deputies always made it.
Yeah.
Right? And they seem to have it as some kind of a religion.
Yeah.
So deputy must ascend.
So we must prepare ourselves for Paul.
Yeah, no.
That's a given.
Paul Mashatile is going to be president of this country.
And do you see them then recovery we're going into local elections?
No, they found a formula not to recover. Because the GNU...
So you think they'll drop?
You see, because the other parties are unlikely to surpass 40-50.
Yeah.
Right? So it means that the ANC, even in the next election, will still have a bigger block. I don't think they'll go way below 40. No. I think they'll still sort of hover around the 40.
I share the view. And interestingly...
And because of that, that they won't be 50, but they won't be 51, but they will still be the biggest party. It means that they still have another decade to be in power.
No, I share that sentiment. So I think we are still with the ANC for a good another 10 to 15 years. Interestingly, even if the ANC had to go to 20%, they are still the adult in the room. So in a way, anyone who wants to govern, they start with...
You have to talk to them.
You have to talk with the ANC. Yeah. Because the rest of the people, and I've said this before, that
but maybe you don't want them to be at
20. The ANC is at, what is it now, 40, whatever?
39.
The other parties, that means the other parties have got 60%.
Yeah, but they can't agree on anything.
They can't agree on anything.
Yeah. And
they all tell us that the problem is the ANC. So why don't you pull together your 60% and form government?
They
cannot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that is part of the problem of May last year.
That
none of the sides were brave enough to take a decision, right, that would actually make sure that the agenda in a sense prevails.
Yeah.
I don't subscribe to the rooi gevaar and a green gevaar. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
These people are parts of the ANC. It's like another cope.
No, it's all parts of.
Understand? These are all children of the revolution, right? Eventually, the revolution will clean itself.
And if you add their numbers together, they are still close to two-thirds.
Why didn't they put a coalition like that?
Yeah.
Why? Because patronage is now cascaded into factions. It's no longer, all right, this ANC. Which ANC are you talking about?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all of these parties, whether it be PAC, PAC has two presidents.
Yeah.
I interviewed the wrong president on my show, and otherwise say, that's not the real president, you know. So it looks like all these parties eventually have little splinters and what have you.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, that to put it bluntly, the black vote has been so dissipated that it will not impact.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas if you look at the white vote, it's more consolidated.
Yeah.
They're saying we're going to vote the DA.
But there's a good rallying cry behind the white vote, which is fear, right? Like, these people are about to mess your life up. Maybe that's also, let's talk DA.
Yeah.
I mean, ANC, I guess your views, we've got Paul coming. We've got another 15 years or so of the declining ANC, but continuing to be part of government. So that's simple. And hopefully the looting. I don't even think we are dealing with corruption now. We're dealing with looting. It slows down a bit. DA, what's your views? I mean, so are they stuck kind of like where they are?
No, look, DA is stagnant.
Stagnant,
okay? It's stagnant probably by choice.
Yeah.
And why am I saying that? The DA had every opportunity, right, to elect somebody better than John Steenhuisen to be their leader, to take them into government.
Yeah.
But they decided to stick with what they believe works.
Yeah.
Okay? They had a fantastic mayor in Joburg here, Mpopala, who they did not support.
Yeah.
They let her die alone, literally. Yeah. Even when she was being kicked out of office illegally, she had to go and fight that court case by herself.
Yeah.
They were saying, no, leave it, whatever. And then she won and came back, and then they were now surprised that, hey, this person is becoming too big for their boots. That was the leader they should have chosen, because she did contest.
Yeah.
I can tell you now, there are 20% would have easily been 30 if they had a black leader, because there is a sense in which the black population is skeptical of the DA.
But they tested that, Prof, and it didn't work. I mean, under Musi, who was called the experiment. So the story is, when that happened, they started to, you know the story. So they lost some of the votes to the Freedom Front. And so therefore, when you are losing your traditional base for this promise of a black support that will come, and then, of course, the white base they were losing, that's also their source of funding, right? Like, if there's one thing about, white supporters of politics, they contribute financially. I think something like AfriForum, we've said this on this platform so many times, they generate an easy 30 million rand a month from just, membership fees.
Let's separate that a little bit. I'm not arguing by any stretch of imagination that if you put a black leader, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a black leader who can actually change the face of the DA, but also change its substance. Right? So what happened now today, where DA comes to announce a regressive policy, is exactly what's going to lose them more black votes.
Yeah.
Right? But if they were to understand these black people that are trying to attract and what matters to those people, and put a black leader, they will be toe-to-toe with all the other black parties. True. Because the other parties won't say, no, but these people are talking about white privilege and so on.
Yeah.
So you need to analyze why the Musi thing didn't work. You can't say, oh, no, it's because of Musi. It's not.
Yeah.
It's because the DA resisted. Even when Musi was there, we had a whole policy conference.
Yeah.
If you asked, I used to make a joke of this, if I call 3 of the DA leaders or 5 of them and ask them about BEE, same question, I'll get 5 different answers about what exactly is the BEE. If I talk to Helen today, talk about BEE, and tomorrow I call John, they will not tell me the same story. And I've proved that. And if anybody wants to challenge that, I can go to my interviews and prove to you. When Mashaba was DA mayor, when I came to, he was even worse. When I asked him, but tell me about BEE. He says, no, how can I talk about BEE when people are starving in Alexander? I said, you see, can we put the conversation at a high level, please? Can you tell me about economic empowerment? Don't tell me about the rest of Alexander.
So John will probably get out of the role. They will probably not find a black leader.
Yeah.
So it's just keeping it where it is. Helen,
the DA,
mayor for Joburg?
No, she won't make it. The DA is...
That was quick, Prof. Why?
Yeah, the DA is stagnant.
Yeah.
Right? Unfortunately, Joburg or Gauteng is a center of consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is where the Soweto uprising happened. This is where people were killed in Puipatong. This is where people were killed 21 years ago there. Is it Pimville?
Yeah.
Right? This is a center of consciousness. I think that all that Zille has done is to provoke people who...
Sharpeville.
Yeah, Sharpeville. Yeah. Provoke people who vowed never to vote again, to say not on our watch.
Yeah. She's what, 70?
So she can forget it.
72?
She must start playing with her grandchildren. She will, and I can tell you one thing, right? Despite all the noise that she can make, she's a bloody hypocrite. Yeah. She's one of the worst hypocrites of our times.
Yeah. Why you say so?
Because everything is about what she believes on that day. You understand?
Yeah.
Can you believe that Helen Zille just less than a year ago was saying Ramaphosa must go to prison for Phala? And then turns around. It's one thing if you keep quiet and just shut up because you don't want to say the wrong thing. But to actually verbalize saying we've just voted for a president. We cannot impeach a president we just voted for.
Yeah.
And I must forget what she told me a year ago saying Ramaphosa is a crook, he must go to prison, the constitution must stand and so on.
Yeah.
The same person says, we must respect the constitution. I ask her, but Zille, why would you say that the president can't fire Kwahobe? Surely the president can. The constitution says he's got the power.
Yeah.
No, he must talk to me. And he had forgotten that earlier in the conversation I said, by the way, people are saying you are the actual prime minister.
Yeah.
She said, no, it's not the case.
Yeah.
Hardly 15 minutes in the conversation, she's saying, no, Ramaphosa cannot fire Kwahobe. He must try.
I've seen one of her recent interviews where she says, and she says this with a straight face, to be a candidate of mayor of Joburg, I applied, I was shortlisted, I went through a very rigorous...
This is what we call insufferable...
I'm like...
I called that roasting, they call me. They thought I was coming to joke. I said, you are an insufferable hypocrite. Zille won't make it. If any of us have something to do with it, she won't make it as mayor of the city. The DA must give us a proper candidate and not insult us.
Yeah.
Right? In a country that has suffered as we did.
Yeah.
Right? To give us somebody to shove Zille down our throats. I think they are really undermining our intelligence. But it's also a provocation to all the parties. They must give us proper candidates.
It is.
I think Mashaba must go back and stand.
I think that's what I was going to come to. I think Mashaba must stand.
Because it's Zille who pushed him out anyway. So he must come back.
He has not announced a Joburg candidate.
No. He must stand.
He has announced Ekurhuleni.
Yeah. No, he must stand.
Who's the guy? Kolani.
Yeah.
The one who
the Mojalaf guy.
Yes.
Yeah. No, good luck to him.
I'm gonna be his Joburg mayor.
TV doesn't always translate into votes. That's why I'll never stand. So the DA is stagnant deliberately, right? It is a racist party. Sometimes we nest them and
we tiptoe.
These guys are racist. Today, yesterday, the announcement about BEE consolidates that view that the DA is a racist party and they must come and debate with me on it.
You were right on the ANC and the need for coalition, and as the ANC dropping, you were wrong on MK, Prof. Admit. You said
I was very wrong.
This is a 1%, if that.
I was wrong, but as Mkunu is saying, not immediately. Says immediately doesn't mean immediately.
Why did you get it so wrong? No, it's a big margin.
No.
You said we are not even talking 1%.
Yeah, I said no, there'll be in KZN, they'll get to a few seats there and so on. Yeah. Look, I was wrong, but at the same time, you can see how it's unraveling, right? Because sometimes you got
I know, take the wrong first. Let's deal with
No, I take the wrong.
Come the unraveling.
I was wrong because I was really betting on the EFF increasing its vote to 15.
Yes.
Right? And I think MK took its breakfast away.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
know. I think
in
so.
In KZN, definitely.
Yeah.
Remember, the EFF, we'll talk about EFF just now. EFF, for the type of elections we had, EFF dropped only marginally. I'm saying but remember.
Yeah, it dropped by 1%.
To drop by 1% at the time when the governing party came from higher, mid-50s.
But that should have been a breakfast.
The
issue is that should have been their breakfast, and the MK took that, right? So the MK.
So why do you think you were so wrong?
Just maybe I'm tired of.
Got emotional.
No, I'm tired of splinters, man. There's so many of them, and look at the history of splinters. Look at UDM, right? No, you remember how UDM was formed?
No, but Prof, we trust your analysis. Did you get emotional?
I'm not perfect.
Human?
I'm not perfect.
By the way, I was wrong. Also, I tried to. I was not wrong on the number, and this thing exists on YouTube channels, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, I see the MK coming close to 15%. I'm not making this up. You can check it. It's there. I was doing a conversation with Sizwe.
Yeah.
And for me, and it's not because I was hoping they get the 15%.
Yeah.
It was just the numbers. Because when I looked at what COPE achieved, even with its issues,
yes,
and with the less popular leaders, what EFF achieved with less popular leaders, I think in the ANC there is still very few leaders, if any, that comes close to the
Zuma's popularity.
Yeah. And you must remember, throughout all the elections in democracy, ANC has never ever won KZN without the involvement of Zuma. All the presidents have sent Zuma there. Mandela sent Zuma there. Thabo Mbeki, even with their issues.
I think that's why I was thinking that's where Zuma's going to thrive. So, I didn't think on a national scale it was going to come to that percent.
But I think the idea that the most popular leader in the ANC comes out and gets a result that is less than, I'm just talking on numbers. Let's park the hearts and the emotions. Comes up with the numbers less than EFF and less than COPE. The numbers did not support that. But this is the part where I got wrong. I did not think MK is a serious party. I still don't know if it is I thought it was a way of pushing the ANC. It will force the ANC to go talk.
To change, so to talk to them.
To talk to them.
And then we almost get a reunited ANC.
Absolutely. And
probably that's what Zuma wanted to do.
I don't think they had a plan post-elections as let's call it the opposition or the leader of opposition.
In total disarray. They didn't even arrive to be sworn in.
So I thought at a bare minimum, EFF, MK come together, but the conversation then leads to a block that can negotiate with the remaining ANC. That part I got wrong. Then we'll have to see how it plays out.
For me, that is what I was hoping that was what was going to happen after next year. That the progressive force, I put it in quotes, right, will come together and say, guys, we're at the crossroads. Let's forget about our egos. Let's forget about. I did say this at the EFF podcast. I said we're looking up to you guys to unite.
What do you think happens of EFF?
And the more you don't unite, the more you are going to be in trouble.
So the last
EFF has entered a new chapter.
New chapter.
I think EFF has entered a new chapter with flats forming something else.
Yeah.
Because assumably some of the people are going to follow him to Maibuye.
Yes.
Right? And so EFF will have to dig deeper in terms of increasing its support base.
Yes.
Right? But I think they're still a formidable force.
I think they still are.
They're still a formidable. I think people who are writing them off and so on are totally wrong.
No, I think EFF, and I think it's important that EFF continues to be part of the mix.
Yeah. No, you need a counter force.
There are things that I think with your reputation management, the whole space of the foreign nationals, I think they can do better in telling the story, in managing the narrative.
Yeah.
I think sometimes there are just certain things, or you can't say shoot themselves in the foot. The president is going through a firing or firearm story, so the pun might not be appropriate. I think they add noise. Maybe this noise used to get them the airtime, the publicity. I think the kill the Boer, kill the farmer chant I find it unnecessary in the times we are in. At the time, you can focus South Africa on more important things, right? We can argue whether is it a chant, is it what? It doesn't really matter to me. It's nonsense, it's noise, right? Give us a credible plan of what you want us to support. I really do hope that EFF is still part of the landscape and continues to grow. Do I want them to govern? I don't know. I think it will take. I think we are going to go through a meaningful coalition at some point.
Yeah. No, look, I think they should govern. I mean, EFF has a lot of talented people.
No, that's amazing.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the young some of the young MPs that are also coming up.
They're really amazing.
And they're in a few municipalities where they are making strides.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that there is some potential there. Right? Like you're correctly saying, the issue is how do they take themselves to the next level?
Yeah.
And they promised us that, by the way. I'm not even making this up. They promised, they said, no, 7th administration, we're not doing gimmicks anymore.
Yeah.
We're going into to engage constructively as an opposition, etc.
Yeah.
And I want to see that translate into more programs.
Yeah.
Right. Secondly, I like the idea of beginning to see young new leaders emerging.
Yeah.
I think there's a chap who was I think was the president of the student command, was brilliant at their national people's assembly.
No, the younger people coming out of there. I think if there is one party which we need to give them credit.
Yeah.
If there's a party starting to show the young talent emerging inside the organization, I don't see any party coming close to the EFF.
No, the EFF is a counter force in that parliament. If you think about it, from a point of view of just substance, right? I think they're a good counter force. They can create a proper opposition bloc in parliament. I'm sad, truly, that MK and EFF didn't see eye to eye.
No, I thought that was going to happen. And I mean, if you think about government, there's the policy aspect, there's the governance aspects. Today you've got different parties doing fairly well on one or the other. So for example, if you look at what Action SA and what they're doing in Tshwane and all of that, amazing work
they're
doing there, right? So the governance, the getting things done and all of that. But you cannot look to Action SA for policy views of where do you want to take South Africa. Clearly that space, my view, pretty much dominated by EFF in terms of thinking.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about the other as a wrap-up, right? So there's Maibuye. Do you see Floyd going?
Yeah, I don't want to pronounce on Floyd because the next day you'll say I was wrong or right. Let's leave. But I want to talk about political realignment. So I like what Bosa, Good and so on are doing.
Unite for change.
Yeah, because
they should have called it Change United.
You know what? That to sound like a football club. And maybe Patricia Dili will be the keeper, the goalkeeper. But anyway, I like what they are doing. It doesn't go far enough.
Yeah.
In a sense, I feel it's a rushed move.
Yeah.
Right. Why didn't they talk to other parties? Why didn't they talk to Action SA? Make sure that, because there are all 2 or 3 party seats.
Sounds like they did. I think it was still egos. I mean, if you look at
but then why rush? Right? Because obviously when you are saying to somebody like Mashaba, please reverse what you have done so well in Joburg into this amorphous thing. It's not going to take overnight, right? And you don't want him to lose elections first next year before he realizes that, I should have done this. Sorry, let me just interrupt you there.
Yeah.
Look at what Mashaba did with the moonshot.
Oh, the moonshot pack.
So it means that in his head, he realizes that you need numbers.
You need numbers.
You understand? You can't just think at Action SA, we're going to ride on popularity of one person.
No, but they'll be stuck on egos.
No, egos, unfortunately, is what is...
Because who's going to be president? That's what they're going to
Let me tell you what is...
We are back to
again,
coal.
what is said in me, I don't know, you say I must put my heart away, but unfortunately, it's the heart that drives me to do what I do. I asked Musi and Herman, why are you forming two different parties?
Yeah.
Right? And I won't tell you what they told me, but I can tell you now that these two guys could not, just like Mbazima and Terra, couldn't agree who's going to be leader.
Absolutely.
Each one of them thought the other, I'm more senior. No, I was a mayor of Joburg. No, but I was leader of the party.
Yeah.
But now Musi has now gone to coalesce with the other people. Now, what has happened to who must be leader now? He's the one who's running this thing saying, we don't know, we don't have a leader yet.
That's the sad part.
So I think that our politics of opposition need realignment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the egos are what is getting into the way.
Yeah.
I remember the COPE thing is always my point of reference because I was right in the thick of it. When I left, I had said to a friend of mine, Sipong Wema, and one or two other friends, guys, why don't we get rid of these two guys?
Yeah.
These guys don't want to work together.
Yeah.
Right? We've got fantastic guys like Dr. Mwekiti Musula. We mentioned a number of names who can be our leader, will be a young party. This is before EFF existed.
Yeah.
I don't doubt that if we did that, EFF would not even have been able to be born.
Yeah.
They would not need to. They would have joined.
They would have fed a home.
Because they are seeing these are young people. They are not, stalwarts of intelligence from the NC, Morogoro, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? They are just young people who love this country.
Yeah.
This guy looked at me and said, you must be out of your mind.
And hopefully it happens. And so, Prof, I want us to shut it down on a positive note.
Yeah.
So, alignment of the opposition.
That's where we need to go.
That's where we need to go.
Realign this politics, right? Stop the small little parties.
Yeah.
PAC here, 2 seats.
Yeah.
Azapo. Azapo is
we also contributed
seats.
to that. We started Citizens,
well, I'm sure you learned your lesson.
We need to find a home.
I'm sure you learned your lesson very fast. Like I learned my lesson.
I've got lessons.
I think like Motsipe, I want to parrot again around behind Motsipe, but politics are not the only way to solve the problems of this country.
Absolutely.
And that's if we can get that mentality right.
Yeah.
Well, this country has so much potential.
Yeah.
Right, to take care of all its people.
Absolutely.
Right? But it's time for its people to take care of it.
No, the political lessons were heavy. I mean, so what we are interested in at this point is we still think there's a space for something like AfriForum, but that champions...
An African AfriForum.
Yeah, so we are going to take Citizens more into that space, but that's not for today.
Good luck with that.
Prof, thank you very much for your time. I don't know if I wanted to leave South Africans on a positive note, but I don't know if there is a positive note.
No, there is a positive note.
What is the positive note?
Shine the light wherever you are. If each of us did
in
the corner where you are.
You are a church. We need the choir.
I am. When you see, if you do that, right, it's going to be increasingly difficult for politicians to take us for fools.
Yeah.
You understand? The church must do its bit. Civil organizations must do their bit. Business must do its bit. Before you even come to government, who must do their bit because they are doing it for all of us. If all of us did the right things.
Yeah.
Because remember, when government is corrupt, it's corrupted by who? It's corrupted by us.
Yeah.
Who are in the civil society, who are in the public sector, who are in all these places, who are in the business. Because it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
So we complain, government is corrupt, tenders and what. But the same people, the same businesses pay people commissions and under the table things and whatever to get government tenders. In fact, they hire some of them to go and do exactly that only. Right? Yet they are the first one to complain, there's too much corruption. We're grey-listed because of corruption. But half of the corruption comes from the private sector. And we don't talk enough about that.
We don't talk enough. I think that will be a discussion for another day. Because
absolutely.
Private sector is always the invisible hand in many of these things.
Absolutely.
So in fact, even on the BE discussion, BE came from private sector. It did not come from the ANC.
The private sector is the biggest beneficiary of BE.
It's the biggest
because
beneficiary.
all they did was to make us think we own something by owning crumbs.
Absolutely.
And they continue to own the economy.
And I think if there is one note to leave it on in South Africa, and the idea that it is going to take someone else to fix South Africa is mad.
You are the leader you are waiting for.
So we take a massive beating in trying to do politics. We probably will not do politics the way we did that. But it was important that we say we care enough for what's happening in this country to want to do something. That. So thank you, Prof.
Thank you, John.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, man.
It's a wrap.
Done.